I'm a little rusty on it.
I'll hum it for you.
There we go. Okay. Oh, that was funny. I don't know why it didn't turn that off. Either way, how's everyone doing tonight? A cat was sitting here getting ready to intro stream until decided he did not want to be here anymore. Sorry if this sounds funny. Just so much fur. Let's do the intro really quickly. Sorry, I need to organize just slightly. There we go. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be watching this. My name is Josh, and welcome to my channel. On here, we talk news, politics, current events, play video games sometimes. We might actually do that video game bit tonight a little bit. I haven't fully decided, but I am considering it. Don't have too much in terms of stories, so that's why I say that. Either way, how's everyone doing? Everyone doing well? Good. So, obviously, most people are aware of the Assange news. I want to just take a look at a quick article, go over that in a little bit of the kind of, I don't know about implications, but certainly, certainly some positive news, in a time where positive news has been a bit scarce. It certainly is good to see. After that, I want to take a look at the synagogue protest that took place a couple days ago. I believe it was, what actual day of the week was that? I remember the store. Was it from Monday? Was it really only just from Monday? Oh my goodness. I could have swore, okay. I could have swore it was from the weekend, but that's fine. Either way, we'll take a look at that and kind of delve into, I think, the way that it's been covered. We're going to look at regular mainstream media coverage from CNN, and then we're going to look at Tim Pool's coverage. Those are going to kind of be the, I think those will give us kind of a good idea, a good way of kind of understanding what the media landscape is. I'm going to turn this down slightly because I just, okay, that looks, there we go. That feels a little bit better. What does this one do? Oh, okay, cool. What the hell does this do? Doesn't really look like it does very much. I've just been messing with my settings because it's, what's this? What if I do this? Oh, that looks awful. Okay, definitely not going to continue that. Anyway, I know it's not a Josh stream without me messing with my settings while streams going and messing with my camera while streams going on. I feel like I just never get it to a place that I like it. Like I always feel like I always look at it, I'm like, something about this is just slightly off. That's like bugging me. There we go. Okay, that feels a little less zoomed out. Okay, that feels better. Anyway, shall we get started? I think it's a good I'd say it's a good time to get started. Right, Julian Assange. So, god damn, it has been a long time since I engaged, like, even personally with Julian Assange and his whole situation. So let's go take a look at that. Also, I got the transitions to work back again, which is nice. Let's see, just because my bad eyes. After years of fighting extradition from the United Kingdom, the U.S. on charges related to his publication of secret cables about the cables about the Iraq War, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has reached a plea deal with federal prosecutors, according to court documents filed on Monday. The Justice Department expects Assange to return home to Australia after a plea hearing Tuesday morning. The agreement would bring to an end Assange's lengthy standoff at the White House, which has sparked diplomatic tensions and global concern about U.S. hypocrisy when it comes to advancing freedom of the press. In 2018, the Justice Department indicted Assange in federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, shouts out the hometown, on charges of hacking and unauthorized access to classified information. After spending almost 7 years living in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, he was arrested in 2019 for extradition on the U.S. charges. Last month, a London court ruled Assange could continue to appeal his extradition. On Monday, federal prosecutors filed updated charges with the U.S. District Court of Northern Mariana Island, along with a letter requesting a hearing on Tuesday. According to the letter, prosecutors expect Assange to plead guilty The remote district was selected, quote, in light of the defendant's opposition to traveling to the continental United States to enter his guilty plea, as well as its proximity to Australia, the letter states. We appreciate the court accommodating these plea and sentencing proceedings on a single day. Prosecutors wrote to the district's chief judge, Ramona V. Manglona, sure, who scheduled a hearing for 9 a.m. on Tuesday, according to the case docket. The updated charging documents allege that Assange, quote, unlawfully conspired with Chelsea Manning to access and disseminate classified information without lawful access between 2009 and 2011. In January of 2017, just before leaving office, former President Barack Obama commuted Manning's sentence after she was behind bars for 7 years. As recently as April, President Joe Biden said he was considering dropping the charges and extradition attempt against Assange, which press freedom organizations in the U.S. and around the world urged him to do. After Biden's confirmation that negotiations were underway, The Intercept asked State Department about the progress, drawing the first substantive answer the administration had offered on the question, even as it left little clarity. Quote, one of the crimes that Julian Assange is charged with is helping Chelsea Manning hack into government systems, which, as far as I'm aware, has never been considered a legitimate journalistic practice. Pressure from Australia played a major role in the politics of the prosecution, with the Australian government coming out in opposition to Assange's extradition to the United States. Australian lawmakers traveled to the United States to lobby their American counterparts and pressed upon U.S. Ambassador Caroline Kennedy to intervene. Last August, Kennedy floated the possibility of the plea deal now going into effect. Press freedom advocates welcomed the end of the Assange saga, but worried about the precedent it sets. So this is the interesting part. Quote, a plea deal would advert the worst case scenario for press freedom, but this deal contemplates that Assange will have served 5 years in prison for activities that journalists engage in every day, said Jamil Jaffer, executive director of the Night First Amendment Institute of Columbia University. So keep in mind, the thing that people are generally kind of worried about here is mainly that, like, with an Assange plea deal, that kind of opens the door, or at the very least gives credence to, a lot of the anti-journalistic arguments that state governments all over the world, keep in mind, engage in when they're trying to cover up wrongdoing. That's just an unfortunate consequence of, I think, the of kind of where we are in terms of press freedoms. Because you have the press in the United States have pretty good protections, and obviously have a fairly, I would say if you're a journalist in the United States, you probably have a lot more press freedoms and a lot more ability to investigate the government than you would in, say, Israel, as an example, or Russia. Like, these are countries that are incredibly hostile to press rights, and seeing an American, a case in America where there's been a plea deal struck for really normal journalistic procedures, although it is definitely cause for concern, and it is definitely a bit of a, can I do this on? Ooh, I can. Nice. Certainly, like, you can never say that any plea deal for a journalist is, I think, it's a lot more. It means a lot more than just the actual plea deal, because that is going to have ramifications and implications for cases going into the future. When any administration in the future wants to bring charges on people, they will point to this case of Julian Assange and everything else. They will point to this as a, I guess, kind of a standard practice that they can look to as, hey, like, look, if you're going to whistleblow on the United States, that's cool. You can take the same plea deal that Julian Assange did, but keep in mind there are ramifications for that. So, as a wise man once said, there will be consequences And it's not always good, especially when you're dealing with when the two parties are journalists and the government. It's good news that the DOJ is putting an end to this embarrassing saga, said Seth Stern. The plea deal won't have the precedential effect of a court ruling, but it will still hang over the heads of national security reporters for years to come. Yeah, like it's a bit of a chilling effect. It's not, it's not this wasn't a case decided by the courts. So like a lot of press freedom is still going to be upheld and preserved, but like this will give the next Julian Assange just that extra, I think, pause. That means that we might not get some stories. The administration could have easily just dropped the case, but chose to instead legitimize the criminalization of routine journalistic conduct and encourage future administrations to follow the suit. Yeah, and I mean that's just going to inevitably happen. And they made that choice knowing that Donald Trump would love nothing more than to find a way to throw journalists in jail. Assange's wife Stella struck a more triumphant tone after news broke after the plea deal. Julian is free, she tweeted. Yeah, okay. Left, but don't care about that. WikiLeaks' publication of over 250,000 unredacted State Department cables beginning in 2010 was one of the most consequential data breaches in U.S. government history. In addition to the cables, which have continued to be a resource for journalists, activists, and anti-corruption investigators around the world. WikiLeaks also published damning information revealing U.S. conduct in the War on Terror, including footage from the U.S. military helicopter showing the killing of civilians and Reuters journalists during the 2007 strike in Baghdad. Let's go take a look real quick. Can I actually... Oh, this is like just the webpage. Cool. WikiLeaks released the largest report of this. Okay, cool. Excellent. So, okay. Why you should care about that? Yeah. So, certainly good news. Assange, I don't really have, I'll be honest, I don't have like incredibly deep feelings in terms of like, Julian Assange's politics, and I just don't. I think more than anything else, it's important that press freedoms are preserved more than like any of my personal feelings on the guy. Like I'm sure if I went through my dude's entire history, I would probably find things that I vehemently disagree with. There were, because wasn't there like a case of him oh no, ladies and wait, where's the where wait just one goddamn minute, folks. Wait just one goddamn minute. Hold the phone. Is this the one I'm looking for? 1 second. No, this is not. Where is it? Where is it? Is it this one? No, is it this one? No, it can't be this one. No. No. What is the one? Wait a minute. I love I love the aesthetics of these. 1 second. You'll get what I'm talking about in a moment. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, here. I'm going to go on we're going to go on a really quick break so that I can like double check this really quick. So nobody go anywhere, okay? Oh boy, folks. Do we have some breaking news? We truly live in the darkest timeline, ladies and gentlemen. Jamal Bowman has lost in his primary bid. This brings me no joy except for looking for fun news music, which I kind of love the aesthetic of. God damn it. All right. Let's fucking God, what a fuck, dude. What's worse, I watched that fucking debate. God, man. What a piece of okay. Representative, let's read the thing. Let's get it over with. Let's read the fucking thing. Representative Jamal Bowman was trounced in a suburban New York race that became a referendum on progressives' attitudes toward Israel. Oh, geez, you're right. Israel, the thing that's totally fucking relevant to New York City voters. Yeah. Gotcha. Toward Israel in the most expensive House primary in U.S. history. Is it a wonder why AIPAC spent all of this money? Keep in mind, there's a reason why this money just got spent. There's a reason why this is the most expensive House primary in U.S. fucking history. And it's specifically to oust an opponent to Israel, to oust somebody who has issues with the ongoing genocide in that country. Jesus Christ, America's so fucking cooked, dude. Moderate Democrat, my fucking ass. George Latimer bested Bowman Tuesday, making Bowman the first member of the squad to lose an election since the far left group formed in 2018. Latimer, a challenger who ran like an incumbent, benefited from an unprecedented flood of outside cash. Whoa, big fucking shocker. In a primary fueled by allegations of racism in the party's sharp divide over the Israel-Hamas war. A leading pro-Israel group spent more than $14 million. They spent $14 million to take out Jamal Bowman. How much do you think they're going to spend to take out somebody like more popular like AOC? Like, no, seriously, like this is the problem. This is what's the word I'm looking for? Money in politics at its absolute rawest fucking core. Is when you have special fucking interests over here, campaigning for Israel to make sure that opponents to Israel's domestic policy over there, to make sure that we are tied to their domestic policy, they will unseat a member of the United States House of Representatives. Leading president $14 million on TV ads to unseat him, and as the results rolled in, it became clear that AIPAC and its super PAC United Democracy Project had succeeded in making an example of the two-term member of Congress for routinely criticizing the Israeli offensive in Gaza. Still, many of the TV ads attacking Bowman or praising Latimer had made scant mention of Israel and instead focus on infrastructure spending and other issues of local concern. So yeah, keep in mind, like, even if you essentially, even if you're gonna message, even if you're not gonna message strongly on Israel and you're gonna message on like local politics, do you think George fucking Latimer is gonna do anything about any of those things? No, he's been put in place to do one thing and one fucking thing only, and that's vote yes when it comes time to vote whether we send more aid to Israel. That is the only fucking thing he has been put in office to do. There's a reason why they spent $14 million goddamn dollars. They didn't spend, let's be clear, AIPAC did not spend $14 million fucking dollars to fix the roads in fucking New York. That did not happen. And it's not going to happen. The House District, which includes affluent suburban communities and diverse urban neighborhoods, is not expected to be in play for Republicans in November, making Bowman's defeat a triumph for centrist Democrats. Since the recent rise of progressives, Latimer and his fellow moderates have sought to drag the party back to the middle. Let's be clear, back to the right, by the way. Latimer and his fellow moderates back to the middle, especially when it comes to Israel policy. And what about Israeli policy? Does the local New York fucking voter need to care about? Seriously, like this is fucking ridiculous. AIPAC and super PACs have spent heavily across the country in a bid to unseat other critics of Israel. Keep in mind, again, none of this money is going to go to fix any of yours or my communities. None of it, not a dime of that money was spent so that our roads can get fixed, so that our schools can be well funded. None of that, 0% of it. They spent every single dollar of that to make sure that Israel gets the next shipment of weapons so they can go fucking mulch some more fucking Palestinian children. Jesus fucking. Oh my God. Wow. I didn't think I'd get this angry reading this pretty bland article, but fucking God. AIPAC and its super PAC spent heavily on a bid unseat critics, but nowhere did they anticipate such an advantage as Bowman and Dictors with a large Jewish population. Like, this isn't even, and let me be clear, this is not a treatise. This is not a critique of Jewish people in this district. It's just their identity was weaponized to, and like, at the end of the day, was weaponized to aid and abet the Netanyahu government. Like, at the end of the day, nobody benefits from this more than like Benjamin Netanyahu. Not one fucking New York Westchester citizen. None of them. The AIPAC-aligned United Democracy Project is in a statement vowed to replicate its backing of Latimer against Israel critics across the country. Imagine that. If you would like to be in the United States House of Representatives, you are not allowed, according to this group, to hold a position oppositional to Israel. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to ask why the death rate is so one-sided. You're not allowed to like toward civilians and away from Hamas members. You're not allowed to ask for evidence as to, oh, hey, like, when you said like you like killed a bunch of, you did this operation. Why is it that it costs like almost 1,000 lives to save 4 whole fucking hostages? Like, why did it need all that? Are you guys just bad at this, or do you not give a fuck? The answer is obvious. They don't give a fuck. Quote, Latimer's victory is another example of how support for the U.S.-Israel alliance is both good policy and good No, it's actually not. It's actually evidence that you had to spend $14 million to get him across the fucking finish line. No, that's not that is not a example of good politics or policy. Are you fucking kidding me? Good politics wouldn't require $14 million. What the fuck? What type of logic is this? Oh, we spent more in this race than there ever has been in another House race. So obviously that must mean it's a popular position. Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you insane? God, and keep in mind, these are the fucking people. These are the people that the Democrats have tied themselves to. This is supposed to be the opposite party to the Republican Party. Fuck, dude. Like, we are so fucking cooked, man. Latter's victory, the group said, UDP will continue to support leaders who promote our partnership with Israel and oppose detractors regardless of political party. Bowman, who was endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America, was first elected in a progressive wave in 2020, defeating longtime Democratic Representative Eliot Engel. This time, his critics encouraged registered Republicans and people not enrolled in a party to become Democrats in order to participate in the closed primary. And a coalition that backs the interests of yeshivas spent more than $1 million throughout the race to register 2,000 Republicans and independents as Democrats. So wow, look at that. You brought in a bunch of fucking Republicans. I'd love to know what the actual we're gonna continue to take a look at this. Let's see. Push intensifies New York. Let's take a look. This looks like it. Let's see. Okay, quote of the day, where's the New York City Police? I don't care. Okay, fuck this article. I don't give a fuck. Shit article. Fuck off. Bowman has called for a ceasefire and criticized President Joe Biden for providing weapons to Israel in the wake of the October 7th terrorist attacks by Hamas. He also questioned whether sexual violence occurred during those. By the way, we've never been able to get any kind of verifiable evidence of that. It's just been something that Israel has said over and 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 a fucking over again. God damn it. Fucking God. Like, not good, folks. Latimer himself charted a cautious approach towards it. Of course he did. He traveled to the country at the end of 2023 2023, shortly before declaring his bid for a House seat. Wonder why. He also condemned Hamas for the civilian deaths in Gaza as Israel bombarded the enclave and pressed for a return of hostages kidnapped during the October 7th attack. Wait. He also condemned Hamas for the civilian deaths in Gaza as Israel. Wait. Are you telling me George Latimer had the balls to fucking condemn Hamas while Israel was bombarding Gaza? Great. Fucking lovely, dude. What a good fucking job, Democrats. Jesus Christ. But Latimer has been careful not to criticize Prime Minister Benjamin. I fucking wonder why. For much of the campaign, and declined to weigh in on the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's call for a new Israeli government. DMFI, which spent $425,000 on TV ad boosting Latimer's bid, called his victory outcome of smart, no, that's called moneyed politics, assholes, on both Israel as well as core Democratic Party concerns. These results also validate President Biden's vision of a mainstream and inclusive Democratic Party, as well as the Biden-Latimer approach, bringing people together to achieve important results like the infrastructure law that is rebuilding our crumbling roads, bridges. Do you think any of that shit's gonna actually happen? No, seriously, I'm being dead ass. Do you think any of that shit's gonna happen in 2 years? In 2 years, are they gonna fix any of the crumbling infrastructure? Fuck no. Fuck no, dude. George Latimer has been in government longer than Jamal Bowman has. Are you fucking kidding me? And he hasn't done dick for his fucking voters. So no, none of this shit is gonna actually fucking happen. It's all gonna get swept under the fucking rug. And next thing you know, when the votes come down again, that's gonna be one more fucking vote for Israel. One more vote for your and I's fucking tax dollars to go get spent elsewhere in the world, bombing a bunch of fucking kids. Fucking love that. Just love that use of good taxpayer dollars. Never mind that we have Americans who can't afford housing, can't afford health insurance, can't afford, can hardly afford groceries these days. But as long as Israel gets their weapons so that they can bomb Palestinian civilians, that's all that matters in terms of our tax expenditures. Allies of Latimer insisted Israel was only one factor in the argument against Bowman, a former middle school principal. Bowman's antagonists charged he was not present in the district during his 2 terms, and that his pulling of a fire alarm. Wow, yeah, a fire alarm at the house was really integral in the ability for the people in his district to pay their fucking rent. Yeah, who gives a fuck? His vote against the key infrastructure spending package became fodder for during the campaign as well. Latimer, the Westchester County executive, has spent decades in local and state elected office, making him a familiar face for Democratic voters. And doing what? We say this every fucking time. He's been in government for fucking decades, and what the fuck has he done? Only now that he got $14 million goddamn dollars spent on his behalf by fucking Israeli-aligned groups did he finally make it over the finish line for a House seat, for a federal House seat. Are you like... it's so obvious. They just bought a fucking seat. That's what it costs now. $14 million buys you a House seat. Bowman came into the race with some big advantages. The district lines were redrawn slightly in his favor, and the House Democratic Majority Leader Hakeem Jeffries of New York endorsed him, but offered little visible support after. Yeah, no shit. Probably because doesn't want to actually support him, just kind of do the oh yeah, I totally support him, it's fine, and then let him get fucking steamrolled. Which keep in mind, Hakeem Jeffries does not want the squad in his coalition. Let's all be really clear about that. Hakeem Jeffries has no fucking interest in squad adjacent members in his caucus. He would prefer them be out in the water in the independent space. At the end of the day, because at the end of the day, all these institutional fucking old blue dog Democrat type ass losers, all they want to do is tack back to the center, tack back to the right. Meanwhile, just giving more credence to the fact that you shouldn't vote for Republicans, you should just vote for you shouldn't vote for Democrats, you should just vote for Republicans. They're already moving rightward anyway. So why the fuck? You might as well vote for the guy who's actually to the right. The fuck? Bowman insisted his campaign was built around lower income people of color in the district who have been ignored by elected officials. He drew support from a constellation of left-leaning organizations that play key roles in progressive politics, including the Working Families Party and Make the Road Action. The Working Families Party on Tuesday said that it spent $506,000 on advertising, a fraction of the money that poured in or into aid Latimer's challenge. Combined Bowman allied organizations spent $1.7 million. For a fucking house seat. 1.75 million is a fuck ton of money. And these motherfuckers spent what is that, like 14 times that? Jesus. And in the home stretch, Bowman said AIPAC and its backing of Latimer was fueled by a racist MAGA. Well, they're a right-leaning fundamentalist Israeli group. What's new? They fund like Republicans. So what's new? Because Republicans are like staunchly in support of the Israeli genocide, because at the end of the day they want their voters are evangelicals who want to see the Jews take back Jerusalem or whatever, so they can bring about the fucking what am I thinking? Bring about the fucking what am I thinking? The fucking rapture or whatever. It's fucking idiotic. I'm an outspoken black man, Bowman said during the final TV debate on Pix 11. His supporters don't want that because it challenges their power. Bowman backers acknowledge that Latimer's retail politicking skills and the massive spending on his behalf create an imposing challenge, but they also insisted the success against one squad member will be hard to duplicate in other parts of the country. Quote, they found an old-time elected official who was willing to be bought. Working Families Party co-chair Anna Maria Arkela said, but they will not be able to replicate that everywhere. And this is the thing. They're right in the sense that they like AIPAC's not going to be able to do this everywhere, but they don't need to do. They only need to do this in enough places where there are squad adjacent and squad members. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, all they need to do is take out a handful of Democrats, a handful of actually progressive Democrats out of that entire useless fucking caucus. Fuck, dude, we're so fucking cooked, man. Let's go. Let's switch over.
In New York, and a local race is under the national spotlight. Representative Jamal Bowman is trying to fend off a strong challenge from Westchester County Executive George Latimer in what has been a tense campaign. CBS 2's Christina Fan has the final push from both candidates.
Congressman Jamal Bowman
no, I didn't mean
and his
it. Oh, no, there we go.
George Latimer didn't waste a moment this primary day, getting up early this morning.
Oh wait, do we have live coverage? Hold the phone.
To get out the vote. While Bowman focused on polling centers, the Westchester County executive visited local businesses.
This is the many.
Wow, shocker!
We are here at home. We will continue to fight for Medicare for all and health care.
The talk show circuit is the most politicized trial in American history, and folks, frankly, are scared and they don't want to deal with the potential political fallout of outing themselves.
I see. We are very close to sentencing.
Don't care. Don't care. I'm here for okay.
Record. That's my career. That's what I was doing in education before we even got to
Fuck,
Congress.
dude.
We're in Congress doing the same thing, and you want to spend a record amount of money against the first black man in history being in a seat, fighting for justice, fighting for humanity, fighting for equality. That's crazy, but it's all good because we got the people.
What a fucking New Yorker, bruv.
We got the many.
What a fucking.
People, and they think this is only about a congressional seat. This is bigger than that. People are watching all over the world to see what's happening to the United States and its democracy. Are we going to allow our democracy to be bought by oligarchs, by billionaires, Republican billionaires meddling in the Democratic primary? The world is watching this. And if this goes down the way they want it to go down, our credibility is shot in terms of it being a democracy. This is not just about Jamal Bowman or one congressional seat. This is about the future of our democracy, and this is about our humanity. Are you seeing the turnout you need for that? We're seeing it so far. But we got to keep it going. We got to keep the energy up. We're seeing it so far. Turnout got to be big.
Fuck, dude.
My man, hold on. My man.
Fuck, dude. Like, this is the fucking guy who's the representative for, like... Fuck, dude. That guy's a fucking New Yorker. That's a fucking New Yorker if I've ever seen one. God, man. This is what money in politics gets you. You wonder why real fucking people aren't able to run for elected office. You wonder why we have so many fucking shallow grifters and fucking morons and talking fucking machines and fucking NPCs fueled by donor money in our politics. This is why. Because people like this aren't bought. Fuck, dude. I swear to God, I have half of mine to fucking hawk the shit out of the Latimer administration. Like, keep in mind, we're gonna watch this motherfucker in the House, and we're gonna see what the fuck he actually does. Because I can almost guarantee you, none of that infrastructure shit's going through. None of it is.
Coast 941 there on the East Coast. Here, around 6:41 right now on the West Coast, 9:41 there on the East Coast. We have a race call in this Democratic primary in New York's 16th congressional district here. Live now look there at the George Latimer Election Night Watch Party. George Latimer, according to the Associated Press, has defeated incumbent Democrat Jamal Bowman. And so we have the results here with around 51% of estimated votes counted at the moment. You see there, Bowman at 45, Latimer at 55. Enough for the Associated Press, which we rely on here at Live Now from Fox to call the race.
Yeah, he would literally have to. He would literally have to like
George
run
Latimer,
the boards for the rest.
Centrist, defeating Jamal Bowman in
Fuck,
this
dude.
primary here.
Pro-Israel
So,
centrist. Fuck off.
Upset for progressive Democrats, including those members known as the Squad, like AOC.
Holy fuck, can you
like
talk
Ayanna
any slower,
Pressley,
bruv?
Cori Bush, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar.
Brother,
Jamal Bowman was of
thank you.
This group, was of this ilk. Bowman going down tonight in this primary, the first such incumbent loss.
Isn't this like the second Squad member to kind of be like finangled out of their spot? Because correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the fucking chair of like wasn't there like a chair member a couple years ago that ended up swiping because they changed the boundary lines and he just ran in like a district not their own? I vaguely remember this. Like I remember the broad strokes.
In the cycle for Democrats,
fucking Democrat my ass,
losing to George Latimer. Back out live
like,
to the election night watch party here. We're going to keep the audio up very, very briefly here and lowly. You see,
keep in mind also, like, this fucking guy.
This is a live picture there. That's at Latimer's watch party.
What kind of Democrat is this guy? Probably a like, you know, a fucking Cuomo Democrat, a fucking Republican, and like just a Republican. He's just a Republican. He's a conservative Democrat, which makes him just a conservative.
Against Israel, he was making questionable comments.
And like, keep in mind, you can make. They can howl all they want that, oh, the race wasn't about Israel. We didn't mention Israel all that much. It doesn't matter. Israeli-backed groups funded $14 million into this campaign. That's the issue. That is the issue. It doesn't matter. The infrastructure doesn't matter. None of his other positions matter. He got $14 million, not because he wanted to fix the road. They could have gave Jamal Bowman $14 million to go fix the roads. But Jamal Bowman does not have the correct politics for them.
Calling into question some of the accusations of sexual violence against Israelis who were attacked.
Yeah, because there's been no fucking evidence, like that it's been systemic. Because they've been howling about that exact talking point for months now.
Gathering around the microphone, waiting for the victor in this primary to come out and address his supporters here. So this is quite something.
I think so far out of this crowd, I see like one person of color, which should really tell you everything about this dude's fucking support.
And this is being reported by Caroline Elliott that George Latimer, according to his campaign, is backstage now. He's getting ready to come out and speak, and we will carry that live. We also have a different vantage point as well inside the room. We just spoke there with Morgan McCaw. You can see there more of a zoomed out vantage point. A lot of his supporters there on the ground as well here. So we're awaiting George Latimer to come out and address his crowd of supporters there. So if you're just joining us right now, it's about 9:45 there in New York's 16th congressional district, in White Plains, in Yonkers, as we are now learning that George Latimer has defeated Democratic incumbent, the progressive Jamal Bowman, in this. Remember, this primary race on the Democratic side outlined some of the key tensions within the party over President Biden's handling of the Israel-Hamas war. They have been playing out in this primary ever since. And so Bowman, of course, representing the left's opposition to Israel's conduct during the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza and the Biden administration's support for Israel. Now, Latimer ran
I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there.
Affirming Israel's right to exist, right for stability, right for self-defense, and
centrist
right for peace. That was
establishment,
as well
centrist
so
establishment, New York City.
And we are just getting
this tells you everything about his fucking coalition.
10 points at the moment, only a little more than half of votes counted. So we'll wait to see a final tally.
Fucking disgusting, dude.
Said and done here. So this is quite significant that you're watching this live picture there in this ballroom in Yonkers, New York. Latimer has been a Westchester County executive for years, and he decided to throw his
and done fuck all. Like, let's be clear. If he did anything relevant or like anything notable, they would have said it. But all they say is, yeah, he's been in government for like 10 years. That's it. That's it. That's his entire credentials.
You heard Jamal Bowman talk about that at length. Now,
everybody excited about tonight. You see me in the back.
Ah, yes, they've got that. Yes, yes. Oh my God.
See me here up in Rye. How about in Greenburgh?
They found that one black supporter that I saw in the crowd briefly.
Mount Vernon in the house?
Because they knew they couldn't open this with like Karen number 8465. They knew they couldn't open with that. After unseating the first black man in this seat, they were like, well, you know, we should probably have like a black person intro him, so we don't seem just outright racists.
New Rochelle, White Plains.
Jesus.
There's nothing quite like it. And when you're a 70-year-old trying to act like you're a 40-year-old at those train stations.
This dude is fucking. Wait, no, you're fucking kidding me.
When you question your judgment, and there are moments where you wonder how you're going to go on when you hear an attack or you see something written that is untrue and unkind.
Yeah, and then you get $14 million, and then you're like, wait, never mind. It's fine. It's cool. I don't have a fucking. This dude is 70.
This is the many of Westchester and the
Are you fucking kidding me? No, seriously, are you fucking whatever? Call me ageist. I don't even care anymore. Holy shit!
Tonight we turn a page.
You're fucking wow, Jesus. So I guess there goes the whole conversation about how Democrats care about Biden's age, then, right?
And we say that we believe in inclusion of everybody in our representation. That you are included no matter what your demographic is. Doesn't matter your age, color of your skin, your religion, sexual identity, whether you're a right-hander or a left-hander, whether you're a Met fan or a Yankee fan.
Jesus Christ, this fucking shit. Is it any wonder that this comment, that this fucking chat is like fucking unhinged?
Members of the Westchester County Board of
like talking about AOC starting like an only like dude, like this dude is such a fucking plant. He's such a fucking Republican plant.
Every zip code.
Oh yeah, I'm really seeing everybody here.
Leadership. Quality of Mike's.
Assange is grateful for all of his support.
Make these race calls. Assange, Continental United States. After this, the saga for Assange is.
Are we on to Assange? I don't care. I already covered Assange. I'm here for other things. This is wait. Is that Bowman? No, I think we're done with Bowman news. Oh no, that's right. Okay, I was like, wait a minute, no.
In the fall there.
What do we have?
He was the editor-in-chief of the Daily Beast. For a long time, he was a CNN host and contributor, and he wanted to try his hand at electoral politics, coming up with a victory today against his Democratic challenger there. Like I said, he'll take on Republican Nick LaLota in the fall there. So in the meantime, we do
Not sure how I feel about that,
as well from
but
New
mainly
York's
because I don't know who that
16th
fucker
Congressional
is.
District Democratic primary there. Remember, we brought you the news as it was happening. That George Latimer defeated Jamal Bowman, the incumbent there, now at 70% of estimated votes counted
Fuck,
there.
dude.
Bowman at 44.
This is a fucking
Latimer at
dark day,
56.
man.
You see there a wide margin between them, 12 points. Well, we didn't get this live, but we want to make sure you listen to Jamal Bowman. This is his message to his crowd of supporters there in Yonkers from just minutes ago. Let's watch.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate you all being here.
And also, I'm going to say it. Looking at this crowd, immediately more diverse. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. Like, the fucking Latimer campaign is very obvious where they're pulling most of their support from.
Thank you for all your
It's from the
love
fucking
and support
burbs. It's from
throughout
fucking
this entire
suburban
race.
white folk.
Thank you
Like,
for your
we
love
know
and
what
support.
this is.
Ever since I met many of you in 2019, some of you I knew way before that based on our work in education. Thank you for your love and support for me personally. Thank you for your love and support for my family. You've always asked me about my family. Melissa's over there, y'all. Give Melissa a round of applause. And thank you for your love and support for this movement. This movement has never been about one person. This movement was never just about me. It was never just about New York 16. It was never just about this race in this moment. This movement has always been about justice. It has always been about humanity. It has always been about equality. And it has always been about our collective liberation. Always, always, always. And it always will be. We all are here because we all believe in our responsibility and our opportunity to build a better world. That's why we are here. We know that it is incumbent upon us and it is imperative for us to work together in solidarity, in coalition, to build a multiracial, multi-background, multi-ethnic democracy that works for everyone. And we know,
God forbid,
multiracial,
only
multi-ethnic
the most multicultural city in the fucking world would like, keep in mind, there are people who would say, like, you can almost bet there are like George Latimer voters who would go like, that just seems like so, you know, like, why do we have to bring like culture and race into it? And it's like, bitch, this is New York fucking city, the most like diverse fucking square footage, square mileage that you're ever gonna find in the entire world. But no, at the end of the day, the suburbs need to rule us all.
democracy that works for everyone doesn't stop in New York 16. It is a national movement. It is an international movement.
Man, you gotta feel bad for Vosh going and fucking suffering in the East Coast heat, handing out cheese. Fuck, man, it's fucking.
We will never stand for the killing and bombing of children in the Bronx or Mount Vernon or Yonkers. We will never stand for Western imperialism in Honduras or Guatemala or Haiti. We will never stand for.
And how much you want to bet, like, all the fucking George Latimer fucking clone NPCs online would all go, what does Honduras or what does Guatemala have to do with the with New York 16? To which it's like, bitch, what the fuck does Israel have to do with New York 16? Like, fuck, dude.
Child slave labor in the Congo or genocide in the Sudan. We are a human race that believes the end of the forever wars is possible and necessary.
Fucking Democrats, man.
We are here at home.
The party's so fucking cooked. Like, keep in mind, this is not. I'm not getting on here and I'm not kind of raging about this, to get you to think like we need to disengage from the Democratic Party. We need a new. No. That is not what I'm saying. This has now happened. We now go to fucking war. Like, now is not the time to despair and go like, oh, I guess we can't win. How do we? No, fuck that. Now we work even harder to beat these fuckers. We work even harder to flip this fucking party. Because we can't keep doing this with this party. We can't keep letting dark money come in and fucking turn this party into Republican light. We can't do it. We cannot have this. Because that is inevitably going to end to a Project 2025 type administration for the Republicans.
To a politics and government that is rooted in fear and hate and bullying and intimidation. No. Because fear will only continue to destroy us. Fear will only continue to destroy us. I love my Asian neighbors. I love my Latino neighbors. I love my Irish, my Italian, my Albanian, my Jewish neighbors. I love my Muslim neighbors. We love our Christian neighbors, our Buddhist neighbors. We love everyone who stands for humanity. Put your hands in the air if you stand for humanity. Put your hands in the air if you stand for justice.
So fucked.
Put your hands in the air.
Evil won today. But that does not mean evil wins every day.
Continue to fight for justice, freedom, and equality.
Fuck, dude.
This like this. That is what we will do. We will never stop.
Like, fucking George Latimer at his fucking like $1 million campaign headquarters, and then you got fucking real New Yorker, fucking Jamal Bowman in here in a fucking theater hall.
Stop. This race.
The incumbent, like,
never about
dude, it's so ridiculous.
It was never about this district and this district alone. It was always about all of us. Now, our opponents, not opponent, may have won this round at this time in this place.
Fucking tell them.
But this will be a battle for our humanity and justice.
Make them spend $14 million every year on that one seat to defend it.
And we are going to continue to fight that battle for humanity and justice.
God, I hope he stays in politics. I don't know what the big question is going to be, what does Bowman do afterwards? Now that this has happened.
So, I always center our children. And I just want you to imagine with me for a second. What if we could ensure every child, but
I want to hear like the last little bit.
And that is why we have so much work still to do. And
work never ends, folks. Work never ends.
I thank everyone for coming out. Please scream to the top of your lungs for all of the volunteers of the Bowman for Congress campaign, yo. Yeah!
We clap for the volunteers here on this stream. That is hard fucking work. And a fucking
Thank you.
And there's a fucking heat wave.
Thank you.
Fuck, dude. Man, well, that's fucking disappointing. That is highly, highly disappointing. Like, what do you even do at that? Like it's like I said, this is what we do. We work harder and we win. That is the path forward. I'm actually looking. I think I found that redistricting story. Let me see if I can find the specifics. No. Nope. No, not this one. Because it was like, when would that have been in? That would have been 2022, right? No, I don't. Why is it I type in 2022 and they give me news stuff from 2024? God, Google is fucking useless. Is it 16th? Okay, 1 second. Because wasn't he not in the 16th for a bit? Wikipedia. Let's take a look. 2020. Okay, so he was in the 16th. Engel's record. Bowman was challenged by Democratic. Vivek Kashi was endorsed by Bowman's predecessor, 2020 Elliot Engel. Bowman won the primary 54 general election of the vote, and the general election 64%. Latimer, yeah. Maybe it wasn't his district. I don't remember whose fucking district it was. It was a New York Democrat, but I don't fucking remember who it was. It was Bowman who had to move districts. But either way, fucking disgrace. Fucking disgrace of a party. Absolute disgraceful shit. Okay. Gonna go on another break just to kind of shift out of that mode real fast. So just give me a minute, folks. We'll be back. All right, we're back. All right, cool. Well, from one story centered around Israel to another, I want to take a look at the synagogue protest that took place on Monday. So let's go take a quick look. I believe this was in California. Correct me if let me double check. I'm like pretty sure it was. Oh, I'm sorry. The event happened on Sunday. The news about it broke on Monday. Apologies. Am I wrong? Yeah, it was in LA. Okay, cool. Just double checking. I always hate when I don't know what state the news is coming from. Pro-Palestinian protests outside LA synagogue criticizes anti-Semitic after street fights with pro-Israel protesters. I would love to know, I love that, the part of the news is just stating that it's been criticized as anti-Semitic. Even though, you're a news organization, could you tell me whether it is or isn't? Or at least claim something, just it's been criticized. That's the headline. A pro-Palestinian protest held outside the Los Angeles synagogue devolved into chaotic street violence with pro-Israel counter-protesters on Sunday in an incident that several officials, including President Joe Biden, criticized as anti-Semitic. What's new? Biden's had shit Israel politics for a long time, so we can't really be shocked by this. The LAPD said it responded to two protests Sunday in the predominantly Jewish neighborhood of Pico Robertson, just south of Beverly Hills. Videos taken at the scene show police pushing pro-Palestinian protesters away from the entrance of the Adas Torah Temple and Orthodox Synagogue. Whoa, shocker. The police are not on the pro-Palestinian side. You'd really have to convince me of that. Chants for free Palestine from the river to the sea and long live Antifada could be heard from among the pro-Palestinian protesters. Participants blocked traffic, and video from the scene shows multiple altercations broke out in the middle of the street and on the sidewalks. Let's go take a look, see if we can find it. Let's see. Let's take a look, shall we?
Tense moments on Sunday during protests outside.
Nope, shut up. I don't need to hear the commentary. I'm already reading the article. Ah, yes, the fucking pro-genocide group up with their phones trying to film all the protesters. Yeah, that you know, that tracks. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let's see if we can get. Can you go away? Can we go away? Player fucking dimming. Thank you. Like big, yeah, big shocker. Big shocker that the police would have zero interest. Let me go see. Well, I'll do this on the side. But let's go see if we can find, if I can find like some oh no, I'm gonna have to spell the word synagogue. Is there a there we go. I don't even want to hear it. You expect me to know how to spell synagogue? Don't ask. Oh, is this the, okay, so I did hear about this. That's right. Okay. I'll pull this up for now. Then we'll go from there. Yep. It's funny, everyone here looks pretty chill. Looks like they're having a disagreement, but doesn't really seem all that hostile. Let's see. Officers arrested a person with a spiked flag. The police department. Oh yeah, in quotation marks. Gotcha. Spiked flag. Got it. Police department told CNN the person was issued a citation for possessing a prohibited item during a Fuck off. Pro-Israel supporters and pro-Palestinian protesters clashed outside the Adas Torah. At a Monday news conference, LAPD interim chief Dominic Choi said detectives are investigating all acts of violence. He added that while residents are okay to protest peacefully, violence will not be tolerated. At the news conference, I mean, the cops didn't show up when they were throwing fucking fireworks into the encampments in, I believe that was in New York. Yeah, at NYU. So like, what makes you think that what makes you think I'm going to think that the police are going to be interested in combating the pro-Israeli supporters, which by the way are counter-protesters. Like, they showed up to counter-protest a protest, which means they almost certainly showed up to kind of get hostile with the group. He added that while at the news conference, LA Mayor Karen Bass, what a name, said she plans on meeting with the city attorney's office to talk about the potential for permits for protests, people wearing masks at protests, and, quote, establishing clear lines of demarcation between what is legal and what is not. Are you not allowed to wear a mask no, you're allowed to wear a mask at a protest. Fuck off. Are you kidding me? Bass said she will also convene a meeting of leaders of houses of worship and cultural centers to discuss how to protect sacred spaces and keep congregants safe. Police will enhance their partnership with Jewish public safety organizations to review threats to the community, the mayor said. Protests around the Israel-Gaza war have become common across the United States since October, but Democratic officials sharply criticized Sunday's event for its violence and taking place at a Jewish institution. Okay, let's be really clear. I don't really care if you're holding protests outside of religious places, mainly because I would have to hold that opinion for like that would have to be like, oh, you're not allowed to protest at a church. You're not, which case I do not hold that position, because if it's a church, especially if it's a Catholic church, I think there's a pretty good conceit why you would be a bit skeptical about the practices of the Catholic Church. So I do think you should be able to protest outside of a church. And synagogues are no different. Like, I'm sorry, but like, no, spare me. I'm appalled by the scenes outside of Adas Torah Synagogue in LA. Intimidating Jewish congregates is dangerous, unconscionable, anti-Semitic, and un-American. Biden said on Twitter, Americans have a right to peaceful protest, but blocking access to a house of worship and engaging in violence is never acceptable. Well, first of all, blocking access, if you're like, just standing there, it's like, you can move me out of the way, but you're going to move me out of the way, is a long held practice of protesting. So again, don't care. We heard that people were blocked from getting into their buildings at NYU when in actuality, you just couldn't go through one of like 8 entrances or some nonsense. So yeah, you can kind of spare me with that as well. The violent clashes outside the Adas Torah Synagogue in LA are appalling. California Governor Gavin Newsom, there's no excuse for targeting a house of worship. Such anti-Semitic hatred has no place in California. Well, it's interesting. So we'll get to the reason why, because I know why the synagogue was the place in which they were protesting. Targeting a synagogue or targeting members of a synagogue is anti-Semitic. Ted Lieu, I strongly condemn that. Whatever, fuck off. Jewish and Muslim advocacy groups say the war has led to skyrocketing hate crimes and bias incidents. Yeah. Who's to blame for that? Probably Israel, right? Since they seem to be, specifically the Netanyahu regime has been explicit in tying themselves to like Judaism as an entire religion. Well, thank you, NYC wise person. I appreciate that. Like, yeah, that's kind of yeah, Israel's kind of tied itself and its like political actions to what's it called? To the Jewish faith. So, I don't know what to say. On Sunday, Bass said in a statement, "I want to be clear that Los Angeles will not be a harbor for anti-Semitism." Yeah, whatever. Synagogue hosted Israel real estate event. Oh, thank God, we're actually going to get to it. The protest stemmed from why is it not an Israeli real estate event? Like Israel, wouldn't it be Israeli? Because it's whatever. Real estate event on Sunday at the Adas Torah Synagogue, according to the synagogue security director and social media posts from organizers. The event at the synagogue was promoted by a firm called My Home in Israel. Real estate, a group that has helped to facilitate marketing events for potential property sales in Israel and in the West Bank. Oh, the West Bank, you say? Oh, the place that's like illegal to settle? You mean that place? So what you're telling me is that there are people who are protesting the building in which there's an event where people can buy stolen land after, the Israeli government has purged it. Gotcha. Just so we're on the same page. Also, I found the actual pamphlet, luckily. I don't know if they're going to show it, but yeah, now is the time. Real estate in Israel. Yeah, like the end of the day, like they put this out, this is literally for people to go and purchase the houses of dead Palestinians after they've been mulched or just generally kicked out of their living spaces by the IDF. So, I mean, let's see. Protest stemmed. The event with synagogue was promoted. We already read that. In response, pro-Palestinian groups announced plans to protest the event in a Friday Instagram post from the Palestinian Youth Movement in the LA-based chapter of the group. Our land is not for sale. Stand against settler expansion at Sunday's real estate event, selling homes to build Anglo neighborhoods in Palestine. The post then listed the synagogue. Okay, you don't really need the Anglo neighborhoods part, but it doesn't matter. Like the what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? At the end of the day, their protest reasoning was valid. So, racist settler expansionists are not welcome in Los Angeles. The account wrote in a caption, "The blatant example of land theft is operating in our own backyard. The Nakba is ongoing and must be confronted." Well, actually, it's really funny because the expansionists of like racist settlers is the basis for like Los Angeles in general. Like, let's be really clear there. LA is not is not exactly known for not being a settler colonial project. LAPD officers line up in front of right. This is as always. Ready when you're a pro-Palestinian protester. Ready when you're a Black Lives Matter protester. Absent when you're a white supremacist like MAGA adjacent ass fucking insurrectionist. So got that. Dan Bond, the volunteer security director of the temple, said the protesters blocked the entrance to the synagogue until police arrived and pushed them away. It's unclear how the chaos escalated, but video shared on social media shows both groups taunting, shoving, and grabbing each other. Oh, geez. Both groups? Color me shocked. That you would tell me that the pro-Israeli, the event goers who would again like to buy the houses of like probably not even cold corpses yet. Okay, gotcha. They started some of the violence too. Shocker there. Call me shocked. Let's see. Grabbing each other. The groups of demonstrators eventually began flowing down nearby streets where most scuffles broke out. Videos show. In one video, two men appear to be wrestling on the ground as the others kick at them. Later, one of the men holding an Israeli flag appears to have a bloodied face and mouth. Yeah, that's what happens when you get in street fights. Additional videos showed an egg thrown at a pro-Palestinian activist and a man wearing a keffiyeh. I actually don't know what that is. What is this? Let's take a look. What? I genuinely don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's like okay. It's okay, cool. Let's see. Activist and a man wearing a traditional. I guess if I had read the next 4 words, I would have known probably. Chased and punched on the ground, a man wearing a Jewish yarmulke and a kippah. Oh, yes. So CNN, we're just going to report. Gotcha. I understand where this is at. Keep in mind, if you're like a protester, do not engage in violence. But if you're asking me, like, do I think CNN is going to do their due diligence and write up the individual incidents of every Palestinian protester assaulted by either police or Israeli counter protesters? No, I don't think so. I think they're going to mention a little bit of it, but most of what the coverage you're going to see is like, for every one incident that we'll report on, we are going to report on 2 incidents of Palestinian protesters engaging in violence during many of the altercations. And this is why, and that's why I say you shouldn't engage in violence, even if I get it, tensions are high, a scuffle breaks out. You should not engage in it other than for self-defense purposes. Because at the end of the day, even if you defended yourself in those cases and you had every right to defend yourself, you would most likely still, it would still get reported on as if you were the, you were the bad actor in this case. So, it's just understand the optics when you go into any of this stuff. Let's see. Los Angeles PD began monitoring the situation. Okay. I'm glad I found that thing. Oh, I didn't even check what New York that's unfortunate. NYC wise person is kind of dumb. You hate Jews and what all, and then want Israel off the map. Okay, whatever, dude. You can see it seems like you probably saw yourself out the door when I ignored you the first time. So, whatever, man. If that's really your strongest argument, then, more power to you. Go continue to be a dipshit. LA police began monitoring the situation around 10:30 a.m. Officer Tony Im told CNN the crowd was ordered to disperse at some point. Im said, oh man, that's fucking confusing. Im said, though no exact time was provided, he added that the situation appeared pretty calm hours later, but the police were closely monitoring the area. They came looking to escalate. Brahm said the pro-Palestinian protesters had their faces covered. Yeah. You're allowed. You're allowed to do that. Yeah. Vile, disgusting things. Faces covered said vile, disgusting things were ready for a fight. Well, it seems like you guys kind of brought it. A, and B, are the disgusting things free Palestine? Like, considering like from the river to the sea is like, their whole spiel of like, you just said that Israel should be wiped off the map. It's like, chill out. Chill the fuck out. Take a fucking chill pill. They came looking to escalate. Not every single one of them. That would be unfair for me to say. But there are certain ones who come looking for violence and get violence, and they want the cameras recording. There were also counter protests on the Israeli side. Are you arguing that there aren't people ready to engage in violence? Because I have definitely seen people engage in violence from the Israeli side. Certainly in the United States, we're working from such a different power differential than over in Israel, Gaza. It's just like the power to everybody could peacefully protest, but you're going to get those people on both sides that are ready to fight because they're incredibly amped by this topic, which they should be. There are tens of thousands of civilians that are dead now. So, I mean, I think that's pretty fair. One man wearing a red keffiyeh over his face spoke to CNN affiliate KCAL as a counter-protest badgered him to, quote, show your face. It's not meant to be intimidating. Disruptive for sure. The keffiyeh wearing man said, this is intimidating, he added, pointing at the counter-protest. We didn't get in anyone's faces. However, resident Josh Golche? Sure. Disagreed. They've come to our home. They've come in our attack. Well, maybe don't hold fucking expansionist real estate events at your home. I don't know what to tell you. You're holding a public event. I don't know what to tell you. You turned your venue into a public event. I'm sorry. They bear sprayed my friend who's standing right over there. He said people who knew he had been attacked. It's just terrible. Rabbi Herzl Lulian of the nearby JEM Community Center in Beverly Hills told KCAL violence, quote, doesn't belong here, and lamented what he saw as a double standard. I don't think the Jewish people, dude, every fucking time, man. I don't think the Jewish people will go in front of a mosque, or a Christian, or the Christian people would go in front of a mosque to do such a thing. Really? There are states in this country where we have passed anti-Sharia laws on the books. Trust me when I say that the American Muslim community has absolutely faced violence, has absolutely faced protests and intimidation around their mosques. And again, I'm not real, like, it's a public venue. If you're holding public events, you're allowed to people are allowed to protest it. Do I always like them? No, not every protest is created equal. But at the end of the day, like, what are you going to do? Just say, no, you can't, you can never protest at a religious center? Like, that's crazy, dog. You're out of your mind. Let's see. When it comes to Jews in Israel, everything is kosher. Everything is okay. Well, yeah, because one of them is a fucking government and a state, and the other one is a religious faith. And if you would like to tie them together, which it would be in the best interest of Israel, but not the best interest of Jews around the world, then I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. That's what's going to happen. Like, the person you have beef with is Benjamin Netanyahu in that case, and the rest of the Zionists over there. In a statement, the Jewish Federation, Los Angeles nonprofit, thank Biden, whatever. Jews, like everyone else, have the right to live, pray, and gather in peace. We respect the constitutional freedom of protest. However, what we saw yesterday was a witness. Whatever. All right, cool. So, as is kind of obvious here in the United States, you're going to get like highly slanted news from the mainstream press. And let's go take a look, shall we, at less mainstream press and kind of contrast them and see how, so we can get an idea a little bit of how similar the talking points and how similar the rhetoric is at this point when it comes to online, centrist media figures like Tim Pool over here and your deep state, whatever, mainstream CNN. We'll see how much daylight is between them two.
A bloody riot outside of an LA synagogue. The videos are crazy. Far leftists are very mad. Of course, they're mad. Many of these people are
really
outright
likes the post-millennial, I've noticed.
They're playing politics and lying to you when they say they're not pro-Hamas. That's a fact. I am not
right. We're not even going to get into it.
Saying that every single liberal person concerned about Israel loves Hamas.
I don't think Democrats or left-leaning people are concerned about Israel. They're concerned about Palestine. Like, they're concerned about Palestinians, bud. I think you've got it mixed up. Most people wouldn't care which group was doing this. I don't know anybody who would be like, if only the Saudi regime was doing this to the Palestinian people, then I'd be okay with it. That's not really the perspective. But you know what's new. Tim hasn't met a leftist in his entire life, so it's fine.
I am saying that the far left extremists who are going outside and physically assaulting and attacking people. These people, when they claim they're not supporting Hamas, they're lying to you. But you know what? Many of them are outright willing to admit that they are. Oh, boy. I guess we had to get into the Israel-Palestine issue, but not so much. This is domestic. The first thing I want to say on this is what most people have said.
I mean, it was a protest because there was a real estate event to go buy stolen land in Israel. So it might have been a domestic event, but it was an international, or I guess the scuffle might have been domestic, but the event was international.
Could you imagine if a bunch of Trump supporters showed up outside a black church or even a Hispanic church?
It's fine. These are the trials I put myself through.
Would lose.
I take these slings and arrows for all of you.
They're between a rock and a hard place now. I tell you,
you wouldn't believe my
because
back.
You've got these Democrats
scarred by years of listening. Quite frankly, if I'm being fully honest, having to listen to like fucking Mark Levin and Rush Limbaugh growing up, like getting taken to school by my dad all the time, like hearing that constantly, so much more worse than Tim. So much more worse.
Can't like this Bowman's going hardcore, anti-Israel, anti-AIPAC, and all of these things. I am not saying he's outright wrong. I'm saying he's leaning into this to attract an activist voter base to save him in his primary.
Well,
it's a direction they're going.
Wait, so he got outspent 14-1. What the fuck do you like? No shit. Like it's literally like Tim is literally excoriating, whatever the word is. Tim is over here complaining about Jamal Bowman, mentioning that his opponent is having like $14 million spent on their race, and then being like, oh well, like that's anti-APAC, that's anti-Semitic. Like what? They're spending I think it's fair to be like, whoa. All this, there's $14 million coming into my district out of nowhere.
So these people are in a difficult position where they're going to lose Jewish voters. They know it, and they need to make them up some way.
They'll definitely lose Zionist voters. The idea that every Jew is a Zionist and in favor of Israelis' occupation
Jewish Democrats are going to vote for more
in and of itself anti-Semitic
Republican politicians, and that's what really matters to me in this story.
It's no different than doing like the all black people love watermelon and fried chicken. It's no different than like any of those kinds of memes.
Vote Democrat, they're going to vote Republican. Let's check this out from the Post Millennial. On Sunday, a California synagogue was targeted during a violent pro-Palestinian demonstration that turned into a bloody riot.
Wait, it started violent and it turned into... Do you see how poorly Post Millennial writes articles that they're like, oh, a violent rally turned violent? Wait, what do you mean it turned violent? It started violent, but that's the thing. It didn't start violent. They showed up, they protested, there were counter protests, scuffles happened, then it got violent.
Rioters assaulted journalists, deployed chemical sprays, prevented Jews from...
Did they assault journalists? That entire CNN article didn't even mention that. And that's usually CNN's big thing is don't you ever hurt journalists.
From entering their house of worship and brutally beat multiple Israel supporters outside the synagogue.
Man,
At
this
least
is
one
like...
was left bloody, video footage shows.
I've heard of editorializing, but Jesus.
Occurred outside the Adas Torah Synagogue in Los Angeles around 1:40 p.m. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators surrounded the house of worship and called for a bloody revolution. Jews formed a line in front of the synagogue to protect it, and the LAPD was forced to deploy crowd control munitions to deter unruly ceasefire agitators, according to video footage. There's just a beautiful bit of irony in someone screaming ceasefire while mercilessly beating other people.
Is there a video of that? Is there... Tim, my friend, my buddy, my guy. Is there a video of somebody assaulting somebody while yelling ceasefire? There isn't, is there? Do you think he's going to show a clip of that happening? Or do you think that's just like a thing he makes up in his head like a lot of things? Kind of probably like his, his girlfriend who lives in another state. You wouldn't know her.
But can't say I'm not surprised. Look. If you want to talk about foreign policy, Israel's military actions, Palestine, etc., the death of civilians, and what this conflict means and how it should be solved, that's tough, man. I don't got good answers for you.
Wait, is that your entire answer, Timothy? It's tough? Really? This is big politics, man, and the best you can give me is it's tough? Wow. Man, Tim Pool, bereft of any political solutions to anything.
I can only tell you that the people in the United States do not represent either of those groups. It's the weirdest thing, okay? Some dude in LA who lives in LA and is Jewish and he's waving an Israeli flag is typically dictating military policy. The far left is screaming pro-Hamas stuff is not working with and dictating Hamas military.
Like, keep in mind, you can always find videos like this. Dude with a fucking Israel, like we can all do this. We can all just go and find the clip that we want to be like pro-Palestinian dude chilling out, hanging, just, standing around, bunch of fucking pro-Israeli guys, push him, throw shit, do all this. Like, we can all go find these clips. They're all out there. It's all about how you would like to frame the argument, how you would like to frame the actual event. What the... Wait a minute. Sorry, I got off of that for a hot second. Was that a fucking cop I just saw? Dude gets fucking pushed. Did he don't tell me he really just asked the cop, like, are you gonna What? Like, come on. Look at, like, but again, for people who are, for defenders of Israel, no. That's, that officer clearly did not see anything, untoward. No. Like, it is, and keep in mind, and Tim Pool would like to frame all of this as one-sided violence. That's all. I'm not coming on here to tell you that there was not violence on the pro-Palestinian side. I'm telling those who engaged in that it's not good optics and it's bad protesting. But I'm also here to make sure that people like this don't just get to go, nope. The pro-Israel side, angels, never engage in violence, never do anything. The same way that Israel gets away with that shit over in their country. We're not going to let them get away with that shit over here. There's America, goddammit.
It's so weird to me to see these people on the other side of the planet screaming and beating each other, representing their respective ideologies. Now, don't get me wrong. As it is to be expected, the Israel side, they're not typically the ones that go around smashing and beating people. And so here you have it.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was that? Do I need to show the clip? Do we need to do it again? I'll do it again.
It's going to be the far leftists. The Israel side, they're not typically the ones that go around smashing and beating people. And so here you have it. It's going to be the far leftists. Multiple brawls broke out between the groups as the pro-Palestinian mob prevented Jews from entering.
I'm just going to do this. We're just going to do this.
One pro-Israel supporter was beaten by the pro-Palestinian mob. He was pummeled to the ground outside the synagogue and was left bloodied, video footage shows. Now, apparently, even, I should pull this up, because, like, even Joe Biden, let me see if I can find this story.
We can, like, okay, if that's the story you're going with, bud. Like, again, it's always people like this that want to hype, that like want to do this. I found one example that suits my narrative and I'm going to push that. Even if like somebody, as I'm pretty, I don't even use Twitter very often, but even a simple Twitter search will find you. I'm sure that probably happened at some point, but you're not concerned about this. But this you're not even going to mention. Do you think Tim's going to bring up that video I just showed? Do you think Tim's going to bring up any of this shit? Any of the violence done by the Israeli side? Fuck no. Fuck no.
Even Joe Biden. Actually, do we have it right here, actually? Yes. LA Times. Biden, Bass, and Newsom blast abhorrent violence outside LA synagogue during protest. I think we have the... Actually, I'll pull up the tweet so you can see his direct statement. They might have it in here. Here we go. The tweet from POTUS himself saying, "I'm appalled by the scenes outside the Ada synagogue in L.A. Intimidating Jewish congregants is dangerous, unconscionable, anti-Semitic, and un-American. Americans have a right to peaceful protest, but blocking access to a house of worship and engaging in violence is never acceptable." I'd like to give a shout out to our good friend Andrew Cuomo in New York, who blocked people from worshiping during COVID, and many other Democrat governors who...
Well, that's a public health issue, my friend. Timothy, do you not understand the difference between a public health crisis and a real estate event? Like, what? Like, first of all, again, you're protesting. You're allowed to block people's access to things. In most protests, they'll stand there and they'll go, wait like 30 seconds. I'm going to inconvenience you for a minute or two, and then you can move on.
Did much the same thing to remind Joe Biden that...
Is that fucking Alex Jones World War III watch? Russia vows revenge on... Oh, my God.
Use of violence by police to stop
the Russia is coming from within the...
Yeah, that very much happened under your political party. And don't get me wrong, even after Biden got elected, we still saw this. Americans have a right to worship. Well, you got everybody involved now. The LA Times reporting a violent clash Sunday between pro-Palestinian demonstrators and supporters of Israel engaged outside the synagogue. We know this. The incident, in which there were shoving matches and punches thrown, resulted in one arrest. Now, I want to stress, this is far leftists showing up to a synagogue. Okay,
Also, the idea that everyone on the pro-Palestinian side are far leftist isn't really true. It is in the sense of, like, on this topic, the left-wing American like progressive end is aligned with the pro-Palestinian movement. But in terms of our politics, I've had conversations with a lot of those, a lot of the with the decent number of the people there. They're not all like, you know, they're not all progressive, like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, they're not all like bastions of progressivism, especially from an American context. You know, some of them are kind of apolitical except for this one topic because they have family over in Gaza, and like there's a decent smattering of them that are definitely on the more like hardline side of things. Like I would probably put I don't know, maybe like 20-30% of the protesters out there like on the more militant side of things, like kind of on the more right side in terms of their politics, probably more traditionalism, certainly more fundamentalist believers in the faith. But like that's how coalitions are built. Like you build coalitions around topics of shared interests or of shared shared opinion perspective, I guess. And like at the end of the day, like the effort to reduce the harm, the death toll of Palestinians is one that we can come together on. I would probably challenge, like, you know, like I have like, speaking personally, I have a friend who goes to a lot of these, you know, they're a former coworker and I see them all the time at these protests whenever we go. And, you know, they're rather like fundamental in their religion. Like they're very in the sauce in their belief in Islam. And like, do I agree with them? And do I like necessarily like agree with all of the inner workings? Like we've had those conversations before where I ask open questions and they ask like why I think this is weird or this practice is a bit odd and stuff like that. And like, you know, we're coworkers, we get along, we have to work together, all that sort of stuff. And that's the thing, you build coalitions. And are these all leftists? Probably not. But there's probably a coalition of left-leaning progressive Americans in there. Most likely also young leftists. So, I mean, you know, the idea that this is some like far left movement is, I think like, I think it's painting with a broad brush when it comes to these. Anti-war is far left. Even Democrats are pro-war. I'm anti-war too, but like, I don't know. I mean, like, so the whole thing of like being like anti-war is like, I wouldn't say, I don't know. Like the anti-war movement changes over the decades because each anti-war, I think, each anti-war sentiment throughout the decades changes based on what the actual war is. You know what I'm saying? Like during Vietnam, it was obviously like, you know, it was a lot more about the kind of the what am I thinking? The opposition to stomping on a developing nation because of its ties to communist Soviet Union, stuff like that. Whereas like the anti-war movement in the United States was, I mean, you know, like in the Iraq War, I should say, was more of a distrust of the government and a dissatisfaction with the proof given for our entry into the Iraq War. And especially after we found out that it was all just bullshit, then it was just, you know, it was just broad opposition to useless wars because, you know, how many people's family members, you know, young kids went over to go die over there. But it kind of like changes, like, you know, I'm really only like pro-war from a defensive standpoint, I guess, which I don't know if that makes me anti-war. I guess it's just I'm just anti, I guess, offensive wars. But even then, it's like, well, World War II was an offensive war, but I would defend that. So it's just always, it depends. I don't really think there's like a flat anti-war position ever. It's not static. The anti-war position is not static.
You want to argue, yeah, well, the people with the Israeli flags, they were fighting too. It's like, but they're at a synagogue. Like, don't go to their church and start a fight with them.
Well, Timothy, they're not just at a synagogue. They're at a real estate event being hosted by a synagogue. They weren't at, they were at a worship center, but it wasn't for worship. They were there to browse the real estate of recently killed Palestinians.
With them. Take a look at this. They say no details were released on the individual, but the person, one person with a weapon, was arrested. Is facing a misdemeanor charge.
Like there are people who say like there are people who would say I'm anti-war. That's why, I want like the Ukraine conflict to end. But like there is no anti-war position on that. That isn't just Ukraine gives up land that they shouldn't. They're a sovereign nation. There isn't a position that aligns with that's anything other than appeasement to Russian interests. Beat someone up if they were trying to rob you. You got to do what you got to do. Like you wouldn't beat somebody up. I mean, like if someone tried to rob me, it kind of depends. Like it's one of those cases. Like there have been times. I think there are times in everyone's life when you kind of have to go where you kind of have to go like, if I'm being if somebody like pulls a gun on me or a knife as I'm like coming out of work and, they're like, give me your shit. I'm probably just going to give them my shit. Like, I don't really like, it's just not that important to me. Like my cards, my whatever, like that's kind of like a, here, dude, like it's fine. Most likely. And like, especially like, at least with the people who are around my workplace, like most of those people kind of need a little bit of help. I've been in situations where like I bought people like stuff from 7-Eleven when they're outside. Like I don't like, that's one of those where it's just like, you always got to ask yourself, like, is it really worth like risking it to save for me, like $400 in the bank? Is that worth me like waking up the next morning? And most of the time it's not. It's just, I got too much to live for to fucking lose it over a debit card that I can cancel and that you're not going to make it very far with either way.
Charge in connection with carrying a spiked flag, whatever that means. Put nails.
I'd love to see. I wonder if it's just a flag that has like the pointy end.
A house of worship,
like every other flag you can buy at Target.
Has no place in California. Bass called the violence abhorrent, adding that blocking access to a place of worship is unacceptable. I want to be clear that LA will not be a harbor for anti-Semitism.
And keep in mind, I'm still skeptical that the blocking access was like a universal blockage of access. A lot of times people will be like, you're blocking me from getting in. There's a door like right over there. You can use that door. No, I want to go in through this door. You're blocking my access. It's like, okay, dude, whatever. I'm standing here. Wait a few seconds and I'll let you through. Like, okay, whatever.
And violence. Those responsible
also, it's a protest. You're supposed to be inconvenienced.
And held accountable,
so what?
She said. President Biden also took issue with the protest tactics. Intimidating Jewish congregants is dangerous, unconscionable, anti-Semitic, and un-American. We did read this. Pro-Palestinian activists began gathering in front of the synagogue in Pico Boulevard.
Do you think this article is going to even mention the real estate event?
Officer Tony Im said they were quickly
at least what's it called?
Many of them carrying Israeli flags. Why?
At least the CNN article mentioned it.
Why are you going to a synagogue? Like, what are you doing?
Tim, if you did any bit of research or if you read a better source, you might get an answer. Do we think he's going to get an answer, folks? Ooh, can I make a poll? Should we do a poll? I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I have that ability. Is that a thing I can do on here? Do I need to like, how do I, chat, no. Do I need to, oh wait, no, I know how to do that. Wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. Where is it? Should we? I have to install. Okay, maybe I'll do that at another time. I'll get the poll thing another time.
Well, look, I just gotta say, man, I think most of these activists purely
Just Stop Oil is critical is
they hate Jews. That's it.
Just Stop Oil is pretty criminal when it comes to this.
I can already hear the America First people saying like Israel.
What do you mean they're criminal? I mean, most of the protests that they've done, most of the like actions that they've done are pretty harmless in the grand scheme of things. Like, what was the most recent one? They put like orange. I thought it was spray paint. It's like it was something else that like washed off with water. So fairly meaningless. I don't understand why right wingers support Israel. It's kind of weird. It's a confluence of issues. Blocking the highway is kind of annoying. I mean, it is, but that's protesting, baby. Like, at the end of the day, a convenient protest isn't a protest, because the point of a protest is to draw attention and to draw the eyes of the public. Because like what you want is to annoy the fuck out of someone and then to go, what the fuck are you doing? And then you go like, I'm in the street protesting for this. Why the fuck are you doing that? Because this is happening. And like, maybe that, like, it's not going to convince the person who you're annoying that like, they're not going to go like, okay, that's a fair argument. I'll just go and be late for work. Like nobody's going to say that, but like, that's that, like at the end of the day, you're there to draw attention to the topic. You create chaos, and not chaos in the sense of like violence, but chaos in the sense of the normal functioning of things to like force people to kind of engage with the topic a little bit. Stonehenge. I don't think it was spray paint. It was let me go look if I can find it really quickly. We'll go find it because I mean it's not like Tim Pool's saying anything. Stone, unless it's a different one, it might not be. Climate don't care. Maybe don't spray paint. Oh, it's okay, yeah, because I remember it was like a powder, orange powder paint. Extremely upset. Is anybody gonna actually like? Let's see. Orange powder. I'm aware that it's orange powder. Let's see. Supporters of decorated Stonehenge, orange powder paint. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is justopoil.org. Excellent. Let's see. Demanding UK. UK's government is waiting and committed. Fair to commit and defend the community. Taking action this morning. Stonehenge at a solid. But look at the state. Oil, coal. It's time to think. Standing. Also taking action. Can I get like what the orange color we use to create eye-catching spectacle will soon wash away with the rain with urgent need of effective. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Either we end the fossil fuel workers combat, wash away with the rain, but the urgent need. Supporters working with the other groups. Okay, so they didn't say what the fuck it was either. Let's see. They spray. Yeah, let's say for me it might be reductive, like I'm protesting. I'm going to inconvenience the city, not the civilians. So it's kind of a bit of, so with Just Stop Oil, it's a bit different because they're like trying to just grab attention. They're not like making a strong, they're not trying to do what I was saying where they're like trying to have that conversation. They are literally just trying to grab eyes because their organization is Just Stop Oil. It's kind of in the name because like the alternative is you do things that nobody pays attention to and you're incredibly ineffective in delivering your point and getting people to care about your topic. Regardless of what you think of Just Stop Oil, they made people talk about the topic and like, and the alternative would be, oh, what if we went to the park and walked around with signs? Do you know how much attention that's going to get? 0. And if you're not getting attention, then you're not impacting the change you want to see. Like, by all means, make City Hall uncomfortable. But if you like vandalize City Hall, you're breaking laws. Then that's a whole different issue, which I think, that's another conversation. But, still,
Israel is doing this. Yeah, don't care. I'm talking about the far leftists, specifically who hate Jews, okay?
Yes, we know. We know you only talk about far leftists. I'm aware that you only have smoke for far leftists. I'm aware, Tim.
I'm not talking about the liberals who are critical of Israel as they're allowed to be, or the America First.
Well, it's too bad the liberals are fucking useless now, isn't it? Oh, this is a perfect example. Okay. Inverted Mystic. This is a perfect example. What Tim just demonstrated is what I'm talking about. You can either have protests like at this protest, which do create headlines, which create a like flashpoint for conversing on the topic of Israel and Palestine, or you can have the Democrats' response, which has been what? Nothing. We've seen no movement on this entire topic for months now. Like Tim Pool would rather the ineffective Democrats who do nothing and are ineffective in their communication, ineffective in their protests, ineffective in their activism, to be leading the movement because he doesn't agree with their position. At the end of the day, he has to cover this because it's headline grabbing, which plays more into keep the conversation about Israel-Gaza. Like this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Groypers who are critical of Israel, as they're allowed to be. And in fact, I think
those are
should be critical of
anti-Semitic. They're Nazis. Aren't groypers Nazis?
Very much so of Israel. They should not be getting our money. Long story. But
yeah, and how effective is Tim at delivering the message that Israel should not get taxpayer money? How effective is he in that? Not effective at all, right?
It's a foreign policy question. I am saying there are far leftists in this country, and there are people on the right as well, who outright hate Jews, and that is why they are doing this. And they will use the mask of Middle Eastern conflict to cover up the fact that they just hate.
Well, it's too bad that there's really not a historical trend of left-leaning American political activists or actors who have oppositional views to Judaism and more so have oppositional views to the state of Israel. Which, again, tying those two things together is anti-Semitic, in my opinion, but okay.
Jewish derangement syndrome. Don't get me wrong, there's also Israel derangement syndrome, because I'll give you my opinion on the foreign policy.
They've never gotten over that Trump derangement syndrome bar, have they?
No reports of injuries, though there was a video showing someone seriously injured.
I saw somebody injured.
But someone was injured because, serious implies
it was a brawl.
Going to the hospital and stuff.
Well, it was a brawl, bud.
The video appeared to show 2 pro-Palestinian demonstrators taken from an SUV and detained. Rabbi Herzl Ilunian told KCAL News the protest doesn't belong in front of a synagogue. I don't think the Jewish would go.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to engage in good faith with this one, Inverted Mystic. And I actually don't think... Okay, let me read this. All right, I'm going to be way out of line, but January 6th did draw a lot of attention. I'm not saying enter the Capitol, but standing outside and being obnoxious is a good tactic. They went to the right location, but went about it the wrong way. So this is a perfect example of where, do I think that January 6th was a better protest? In the sense of attention grabbing, and so here's the problem. Here's where that falls apart a little bit. But the spirit of what you're saying, you're not completely wrong. You're not, I'm not going to say you're totally wrong, because was January 6th was headline grabbing? Was it, did it stir emotions about the topic? Did it, did it move did it create political wins? Undoubtedly. Absolutely. But, then they ended up breaking laws and, breaking into a federal building and stuff like that. And you don't want Just Stop Oil doing that. Again, that's vandalizing a state capitol. But yeah, they talked about it for 3 years. Yeah. If you're asking me, and think about it from the perspective of the people who were running that protest. Think about it as from the perspective of the people who organized that. Donald Trump and his whole clique there organized that rally. It got out of hand. January 6th happens. And what are we looking at now? My dude is fucking tied with the incumbent right now to win the presidency. There is a plan for day one for how he should be governing. I'm not saying that it's good that it was effective. Just the fact that it was effective. Republicans galvanized their base, centered them on mad ass politics, but nonetheless, was it effective at pushing the party further to the right and accomplishing the goals of the people who were organizing? Absolutely. I don't think there's an argument against that. Was it harmful to Republican officials and Republican candidates writ large? Yeah, no, absolutely. After January 6th, it did get harder to be a Republican representative or a Republican running for office. Absolutely, because you had to have a position on January 6th. But did it accomplish pushing the party to the right, the thing that the people organizing wanted it to do? Yeah. I would prefer less effective Republicans, i.e., people like Ted Cruz, less effective. People like Marco Rubio, less effective. People like Jeb Bush, less effective. Donald Trump, for everything we can say about him, he is more effective at pushing that party and motivating the base of voters. So, that's you're not wrong, not good, but you're not wrong. And it's the same, like, we have to recognize that between both these protests and any kind of other protests is like, is this effective protesting? Is it good protesting? I think those are like probably maybe the two things we need to tackle with. And I think what the group did was effective to a point until violence happened, in which case it wasn't. The same way it was a good protest until it wasn't. And that's a lot of protests. Most protests are effective. Well, not all protests are effective. Most protests are good until they're not in both those categories.
Go in front of a mosque, or the Christian people would go in front of a mosque, do such a thing. Funny, isn't it? I'm not going to blame Muslims. I'm not going to blame a person who is a Muslim. These people are bad people. There are people who claim to be Christian, they're bad people. I'm not going to blame Christians because bad people do bad things. I'm not going to blame Jews because bad people do bad things. I am not going to blame Jews because Israel is doing a thing these people don't like. So why go in front of a synagogue? Can't say I'm surprised, and I'm...
It's so... Dude, like, if you're a Tim Pool watcher, you literally didn't get any of the information you needed to make an informed opinion.
Willing to bet most people are not surprised this is what they're doing. That being said, the people with Israeli flags are supporting a country, Israel. It is what it is. But I'll tell you this.
Well, they're supporting a state, but okay. Yeah. I mean, a country, yeah, but like a governing state, yeah.
I'll tell you this. As we wrap this one up, we'll have more on this probably tonight on IRL. The Israel derangement syndrome, as most of you know, really gets me. I'm really interested in anybody coming forward with maybe Saudi Arabia.
But unfortunately we don't have. Unfortunately, as much as I'd like to see Biden get replaced, there's just nobody. There's nobody on the bench to take that spot.
US policy to an extreme
we are in a no-win situation.
The dollar over. They just dumped the petrodollar. The agreement expired, and there's no plan for them to re-up, which means they're going to start trading now in foreign currencies, which will undermine U.S. petrodollar. The U.S. has been beholden to Saudi Arabia for too long. So much so
I'm afraid
that we are acting as their military in Yemen.
It might be coming down, brother.
It's nuts. Drone
That's,
strikes,
I think, what a lot of people,
raids.
especially on the left, are worried about.
Because the Saudis could dump oil
raids,
and they could screw over the U.S. economy.
What are we talking about? I wasn't paying attention.
The U.S. has been beholden to Saudi Arabia for too long.
How are we beholden to Saudi Arabia? Like, sure, we have oil deals, but we could also just use the oil we extract from our own country. Or, I don't know, crazy idea, we could just shift away from oil. Like, I know, it's an insane concept. It's like, what do we do? Saudi Arabia has a like global monopoly, or at the very least close to a global monopoly on oil, because it's such an oil-rich country. What do we do? Oh my God. It's like, just build more electric vehicles, idiots. I mean, Biden did just put a tariff on Chinese EVs, so there's no reason why any of the American car manufacturers shouldn't be making more EVs. They won't, but, no reason why they couldn't.
That we are acting as their military in Yemen. It's nuts. Drone strikes, commando raids. Why? Because the Saudis could dump oil and they could screw over the U.S. economy. So these Saudi interests, they're deeply entrenched in the United States.
Power plant can produce 30,000 solar panels worth of energy.
Oh boy, yeah, that's right.
There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people who have hangups about nuclear power. I'm not educated enough, I think, to really say yay or nay on that. I would probably have to research it, and I have a in real life job. But if you would like me to not have an in real life job and we could do research streams where I learn things, you can, hit the follow button certainly, and tell your friends to do that as well, so that, this channel picks up some traction. Same with on YouTube. I put videos out. I'm the editor, the streamer, and everything else. It helps me out. Just, I'm just saying it would help, would motivate me to leave my IRS job. That's all.
And the funny thing is, you get these people claiming Israel did 9/11. I'm not
there
kidding.
You go, Inverted Mystic.
Saying this, and I'm
There's my boy.
Dude, we know the Saudis were involved. Okay, I just got to do this. I'm doing this.
What are we doing? 9/11. Oh my God! Now we're doing the 9/11. Okay, we're done. We're getting out. We're getting out before I end up with a bullet in the back of my head. From the U.S. government. Nope, we're getting out. Jesus, hilarious. All right. Sorry, guys. We had to bail out of that. I'm not doing 9/11 conspiracism. It's just a bit too much. It's just a bit. And like, part of it is also because I grew up, like, I was 9 when 9/11 happened. And the like rampant anti-Semitism, anti-Islamophobia that sprouted off of 9/11 was fucking insane. And like, part of that is just because of our piss poor responses, as like, you know, the Bush administration just didn't respond properly and obviously lied us in the war. Like, that's going to create some issues, but still, I just don't have the stomach for it, you know? Okay. What do we got next? Yes, Fox News. Okay, so maybe moving on to something, or no, should we do Fox or we should do Malay? We could do our, okay, so we have 3 topics. I'm thinking we'll only do 2. Should we do, I'm trying to think, like, this is 10 minutes. We could check in with Argentina. When was this posted? June 21st? Okay, so this is really recent. Okay, let's do this, because I don't really think we need to do I need to say that, like, here, we'll do a quick hit. We'll do a quick hit on Fox News. Since I don't really think we need to spend time on this, we'll like drive by it.
Good morning to you. Well, I can tell you sources are telling Fox News this morning that President Biden is surrounded by at least a whopping 16 debate preppers at Camp David right now, and he'll stay there until he heads to Atlanta for the big debate. I can also tell you it's very
fun. And what's wrong with debate prep?
For the president,
what's wrong with that?
Mock debate. One of those staffers, one of those aides will pretend or be the challenger, former President Trump, and then the president will undergo a mock debate. Now, Biden's team knows that the 81-year-old
Vifro, that's like every sector.
So
the for-profit industry is always going to put more people in danger.
In contrast, former President Trump is on the campaign trail, holding rallies, meeting with supporters in between all of his debate prep. Last week, Trump called Biden a
yes, we're doing the Trump doesn't do debate prep, which you don't have to tell me twice. There we go.
That he take a drug test before here. Tyler Cherry is his name. He now leads communications for Biden's climate policy office.
Amazing.
Cherry is addressing some controversial
Absolutely amazing, by the way. Amazing drip. Look at this fucking like Beetlejuice drip. It's amazing.
Tweets he made, including saying that the police
the fucking
direct
love the
evolution
glasses.
of slave patrols and lynch mobs.
Well,
in an
yeah.
effort to clean that up, Harris,
I mean, that
he
is
just posted this.
that is
he says past social
fairly
media posts
historical,
from when I was
is it
younger
not?
do not reflect my current views. Period. I support this administration's agenda and will continue.
Oh wait, are we just doing the like we dug up some Twitter posts? Okay, so this should be rather obvious. Fox News is doing an entire story about this person because they work in the White House and they are gay. That is literally the entire story. We know this. We know Fox News is very concerned about the percentage of gay White House workers.
Tyler Cherry on their team. All eyes now on these 2 contenders as we await this big debate.
We'll see which one actually gets it done.
Anyway, I saw a little bit of that on social media and I saw Fox News getting in on it. Freaking out. We all know. Let's head on to Malay, something that's actually a little bit more significant here. So, Javier Milei, let me intro this just slightly. So, Javier Milei took office at the beginning of this year after winning the presidential race in Argentina at the end of 2023. Since then, his austerity measures have curbed the country's inflationary rate. It has finally seen a lowering of its inflation rate for the first time in quite a long time. This has come, unfortunately, at the expense of the poverty rate. The poverty rate soared after Malay's austerity measures were implemented, sending the country's country's poverty rate into, I believe, 57%. Let me confirm that really quickly. Argentina poverty rate. Milei, a libertarian, 57.4%. Or roughly 27 million people are now living in poverty in Argentina. So that's great. But Milei kind of fashioned himself as a libertarian, like Trump style candidate. He was very uncouth very unprofessional and kind of I believe he was like a comedian before and a commentator, much like myself, before entering into office. And he's a big free market kind of guy, and he's talk about we need to cut government spending down, all this stuff. And let's take a look. Let's look in to see. There's been a lot of ink spilled and videos made about how successful Milei has been in his efforts. So let's go take a look at a video of people who I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that they're probably pretty happy. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I don't know this channel. This is Reason TV, which doesn't give me warm fuzzies.
Milei's intro at the Cato Conference. Let's play Milei's intro at the Cato Conference in Buenos Aires last week.
Hola a todos. I want to start by talking a bit about the moment Argentina is facing and the titanic political, economic,
that's his actual voice. I thought that was like a voiceover
undertaking
thing.
From the national government. So let's briefly put the work of our economic team into the overall and comprehensive perspective. In December, we inherited twin deficits amounting to 17 points of the GDP, an exchange rate gap of 3-to-1 between the parallel dollar and the official dollar, a monetary surplus similar to that
yes, the Cato Institute. Okay. I kind of don't care about what this guy has to say from this point.
They were on the brink of hyperinflation. Is that your understanding of the situation as well?
Absolutely.
Let me see if I can find the inflation rate real quick.
Last time that Argentina had such a big crisis, and it has one about every 20 or so years, was...
it's funny you would say that, because anybody who's familiar with the ups and downs of capitalism would know that there's like, what is it? I believe the 7-year cycle of under capitalism, I believe is what it's termed. I could be wrong about this. Is it 7 years? 7-year cycle capitalism? I believe that's the one. Yeah. Ponderative wave. Is this it? No. What? Drawing showing a growth cycle of world economy over time according to ponderative theory. Okay, I'm not reading all of that. I believe it was 7 years. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Was at the end of 2001.
I'm actually here for the Argentinian
default.
Whoa! Oh, it's because I was on the wrong page.
20 or so years, Peronists have been in charge almost the entire time. By the time that Milei came to office, the situation was dire. The inflation rate.
By the way, keep in mind, this is not a defense of Peronism or the Peronist government. This is not a defense of any of that. Simply the fact that the country has gone libertarian, and they're now going to be dealing with the consequences of that. As a wise man once said, consequences. But let me see if I can find the inflation, because again, at the end of the day, is poorly managed country. There's no getting around that. But poorly managed is better than worse managed.
In Argentina, it was more than 200% last year. The poverty rate was 40% and rising. The economy was obviously in recession. And so you have these terrible economic conditions, and people are obviously angry, and they chose the libertarian alternative because he was the only one who was really articulating what was wrong and what was the solution. And I think, unfortunately, in many countries, things have to really hit rock bottom before they're able to turn around.
So keep in mind, this person talking about things need to hit rock bottom is not like, oh, there's going to be some people who can't get jobs and rent is going to get a little high for folks. There are 27 million people who are in poverty right now. The rate shot up. I'll go find the rate before Milei took over. But keep in mind, to get out of the other side of this, you still need people alive. Keep in mind, there's I believe, if I remember correctly, there's a number that you can look at where it's every year that I believe it's the global temperature goes up, a certain number of people end up dying from heat stroke. It's kind of like that. As you continue to worsen conditions to make them better, your chances of coming out the other side becomes slimmer because you're going to have less and less people being alive to participate in commerce
around. And we hope that this time is different.
But this is also
this is not the first time.
This is the chart.
Argentina has had a big crisis. But
monthly inflation since January of 2017 was down here at, this is probably like
of regime and policy,
2%. We'll say
institutions.
And
so
like
around
what
different.
You saw like a little the rise begin around 2022, 2023, in which it skyrocketed
in Argentina. Is that Argentina is a country,
and keep in mind, this is, if you leave, I should say these are the increases. Sorry, I misread this. These are the increases. So meaning each month from January to this, the increases were around 1%, 2%, 3% until this year, in which it went up like in 1 month or so a full like 25%.
20 days, you come back and it's a completely different country. But if you leave it for 20 years and you come back, it's the exact same country. So you see that describes how fast things change in Argentina, but then they go back to the same point. And one of the things that Milei is trying to do is make this a different, a different outcome than in the past.
Just to underscore the inflation point, this is the monthly inflation rate in Argentina from 2020 to 2024.
Holy shit. My dude got sworn in on the 10th and it immediately went up. Oh my God. Oof.
This is drawing on the Economic Bureau's statistics, which again are linked in the description. And I've drawn this red line in here to show when
VFRO, we're specifically watching Argentina. And the just kind of an update on where Milei's the policies have landed the country so far.
Milei was sworn in that it was up above 25%, and it's then
not wrong. But you see, like, so this is the thing, VFRO, is like those are all the things that Milei ran on. Is like, getting rid of well, certainly not foreign interest, but getting rid of the what am I thinking? The not sabotaging. What the hell am I thinking? The corruption in the country and kind of cleaning it up. He billed himself as an agent of change for that country. And at the end of the day, he's a libertarian. I could have told you this is probably what's going to happen, but we're going to see what's the word? We're going to kind of see where it's going to play out. It's going to play out whether I like to see it or not, but it's certainly good. Like, at the end of the day, we have to reckon. Like, I believe that we have to reckon. Like, as somebody who talks about and is a supporter of socialism and socialist projects, it's kind of my responsibility when somebody is a libertarian and takes over a country after it's been run poorly by liberals, and I'm not going to shy away from that. It was run poorly. When they come into office and they make changes and there are positive changes, it's kind of part of my due diligence, I think, to go, yeah, the inflation rate dropped. Like, that is a good thing. But as somebody who is, concerned with humans and the lives of people who live in these countries, which I find libertarian politics tends to push people into thinking of other people more as numbers and less as humans. I think that's just kind of indicative to the way that at least like right-wing libertarianism is framed. Like, we kind of need to also reckon with that and point out and say, and like, I think it's my responsibility to say, this thing is good, like inflation going down, good thing. This is the cost. And like, so when somebody comes on and is like, oh, like, you didn't even cover Milei dropping the inflation, lowering the inflation in Argentina, because it's going to happen. Somebody's going to come on and try to say that to me. And, at the very least, my answer can be no. Like, we've looked at it. We've kept up with it. Did he drop the inflation rate? Sure, no problem. Yeah, you can have that W. But that means you got to eat the L of a massive increase in the poverty rate.
Seem to have pushed that down, and Milei took a little bit of a victory lap on his first 6 months in office during this speech at the Cato conference. Let's run that clip and then reflect on how it's been going so far in the Milei administration.
Can someone give me a goddamn
In just
chart?
6 months of management, we halted Treasury financing with monetary issuance.
Just keep in mind, like, obviously he wants to frame all of this as like, look at all the good things we've done, even though
made the largest
millions
adjustment
of
to
people
public
are in
spending
poverty
in
now.
history, and achieved the first quarter with a fiscal and financial surplus in the
He's
national
selling
public
utilities,
sector
cutting off
after 20
federal aid
years.
business.
In that
Let's see. Self-aggrandizing narcissistic rock star that is no. I don't disagree with you at all on any of those points. Selling utilities off, cutting federal aid to businesses and people, allowing privatization of everything. Cost of living is up 5 to 10%. Yeah, I mean, like, let's be clear. I'm not in favor of these policies, but it doesn't do me good to not understand them and at the very least, like, while they're happening and I can't affect change in Argentina, I might as well observe them and get something out of that. You know what I mean?
context, we also systematically lowered central bank rates and are diffusing the debt bomb in pesos, even in a high inflation environment, despite what many said was impossible. I also want to mention, because this is extremely important, indeed, certainly, when we talked about the adjustment we were going to make, they said it was undoubtedly impossible. Some shameless people said it was not possible to adjust more than one single point of the GDP.
I always want to represent myself in good faith as much as I can.
When we made the adjustment to the Treasury, we expected to achieve financial balance by 2024.
Mildly educated. Like, I'm not an economist.
And we achieved it significantly, successfully, and incredibly in the
didn't
first
this shit
month of
happen in
management.
fucking Kansas too, where they did
Then they said we
essentially
had done
the
it
exact
with
same
accounting
thing,
cosmetics,
but with the
to elaborate on which is no small
local,
feat.
with
In
literally
other
like all
words,
the with the
using
local like
accounting
Kansas
cosmetics
government,
to
and it
adjust
also
5
just
points
fell the
of the
fuck apart.
GDP is extremely challenging. But those same people who said we couldn't adjust more than 1 point later found out that not only did we indeed have a financial surplus in January, we also had a financial surplus in February, we had a financial surplus in March, we had a financial surplus in April, in May, and we are going to end the first half of the year with a surplus.
So just to throw some meat.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I remember hearing about this a while ago. But yeah, Brownback in Kansas did kind of the same thing, cutting a bunch of cost cutting measures, doing all of that stuff, and the end result ended up being, let's take a look. By early 2017, Kansas had 9 rounds of budget cuts over 4 years, 3 credit downgrades, missed state payments, and what the Atlantic called an ongoing atmosphere of fiscal crisis. Make up the budget shortfall. Lawmakers tapped into the state reserves, set aside for future spending, postponed construction, since approximately half of the state's budget went to school funding, education in particularly hard hit. In addition to budget problems, Kansas was lagging behind neighboring states with similar economies in nearly every major category: job creation, employment, gross domestic product, taxes collected. And it's just like this is what you're gonna get. This is where you're going to get with libertarian economics, unfortunately.
On that,
the whole let's just cut a bunch.
Economic data, and what they found regarding inflation specifically, that there has been a slower pace of price growth across various sectors, most dramatically housing and utilities, 2.5%.
Consumer budget rose by 4.2% from the previous month in May of 2024, showing a deceleration from the 8.8 increase of the prior month, falling below market forecast of 4.9. The slower pace of price growth was observed over so it slowed down faster than the normal market forecast, which would have slowed. The slower pace of price growth was observed across various sectors, including housing and utilities, 2.5 for 35.6 in April, transportation, restaurants. On the annual basis,
5% versus 35.6%.
Okay, we need to go faster.
There's a variety of other indicators here. On an annual basis, consumer prices surged by 276% in May, which is terrible, but we're talking in relative terms. They're saying that this is actually the first disinflation after 11 consecutive months of price increases. So in other words, in the previous month, prices had increased by 292%, almost 300%.
And didn't he also dollarize the?
So
if I remember correctly, I watched the video after he dollarized the economy. People then couldn't buy shit, because they don't have dollars. They don't have dollar. They're not the United States. They can't just print more dollar bills. So a bunch of people were just stuck with Argentinian pesos, or what's the? I think it's the Argentinian peso. I could be wrong. But they were just stuck with like Argentinian currency, and they're like, yeah, I can't. I have to literally trade this for US dollars to buy something, which buys me even less. So like,
this is, the situation that they're in right now is not by any means great. It's just perhaps moving in the right direction is the argument Milei is making.
Perhaps like for who? This is all like
yellow bar.
This is always the question. So, like, who is it? Who is it moving in a positive direction for? Is it Milei? Is it the people? I kind of think the people should matter more than the politician.
This chart that was compiled by Reuters. Reuters also has this chart showing the subsequent rally in the bond market. People are actually willing to buy Argentine debt.
Because selling off, privatizing, yeah.
We'll get to the IMF in a second.
Vifro spoke of this.
Reflect on that a little bit.
Mr. Weissmuller.
How real is the turnaround in your estimation? And as far as the positive indicators, like what is causing? What do you think are the policies that have had the greatest impact?
I'm kind of curious. Okay, I'm kind of done with this. I don't really. Let's hear his answer, but I'm going to scroll down.
No doubt that this is a real achievement, and nobody expected it to turn around that much. The government is following a strategy that's
fixing the problem, which means he'll be voted out in the next election of the candidate who will promise free stuff.
It will stabilize the economy.
I mean, if they promise free food, certainly
as much as it can to promote.
Who would ever have guessed that when you stop printing money out of thin air, you cause lower inflation?
Last week in the Senate,
a successful entrepreneur is a hero. Javier Milei.
Inflation on a monthly rate
what a weirdo libertarian.
To a low enough level. The government feels that will give President Milei enough political support to continue to push his broader reform agenda. We always knew that this policy change, and especially this thoroughgoing libertarian reform agenda in Argentina, was going to be a titanic
relative terms.
task. I mean,
watching this, all I can think is that I wish I had serious adults running our country as well. We can have serious adults who cause a 57% poverty rate in this country, if only.
And so that's what he's up against. And then his reform measures and his macroeconomic stability is going to cause pain for the population.
27 million, yes.
I would say that that's inevitable because of all of the mistakes that were made beforehand. But the way that he is doing it, I think that it's right. You have to do reforms as fast as possible to get to the other side. Means that people are feeling a lot of pain right now. And so far, people in Argentina are willing to withstand that pain on the idea that Milei will correct the problems in Argentina, and that soon things will turn around.
Get poorer so you can literally get poorer so you can get richer. I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't really seem like an incredibly consistent or what's the word I'm looking for? Stable way of securing a better future. Call me crazy. I don't foresee that being an incredibly smart. I don't see how impoverishing your entire country and selling off like all of your industry is going to somehow make everybody richer. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I don't understand economics. Probably I don't, but seems like one of those I got a bridge to sell you moments, right? All right, let's finish up as quick as we can. We got about a little less than 30 minutes. It's only a 12-minute video. This shouldn't take me forever, but it's going to take me a while because I respond long form because I kind of ramble. Sorry. But all right, so Louisiana recently passed their recently passed their you will be a Christian in our schools law. Mandating that the 10 Commandments be put up in every school, yada, yada, yada. We all, should be rather obvious, unconstitutional. This shouldn't really be a debate. But some on the right, namely the person we're going to watch, Matt Walsh, thinks that this is going to save education in Louisiana. So let's go take a look, shall we?
Here's something to celebrate for a change, something to be happy about. AP reports, although the AP is not happy. Louisiana has become the first state to require that the 10 Commandments be displayed in every public school classroom. The latest move from a GOP-dominated legislature pushing a conservative agenda under a new governor. Can you imagine that? The media is shocked and appalled to have Republican legislatures that are actually pushing Republican agendas. And it is shocking. We're not used to this kind of thing historically. Republican.
Oh, and Verdict Mystic, this is another good example. Do a bad thing that's more effective. Be more, like, at the end of the day, like, you know, I would like them to be less effective. This is more effective in getting the things that they want, which are bad. You know, it's not a
legislatures
it's bad,
don't push
but is it
Republican
effective?
agendas.
Yeah.
So anytime you see it happen, you're taken aback by it. The legislation the Republican governor Jeff Landry signed into law on Wednesday requires a poster-sized display of the 10 Commandments in large, easily readable font in all public classrooms from kindergarten to state-funded universities. Landry said, if you want to respect the rule of law, you've got to start with the original lawgiver, which was Moses. Opponents question.
You think putting the 10 Commandments, a explicitly like Christian religion like document in schools is a good idea? I mean, I certainly do think that we should be teaching theology, but that's not the same thing as like just displaying, you know, the 10 Commandments of one religion. Learning religions is good, but the idea of learning Christianity, well, yeah. What you're describing is theology, which is just the study of like religious doctrine from a like secular lens. Studying religion broadly would be excellent for Americans, but that's something tells me Louisiana ain't gonna do that.
Questioned the law's constitutionality and vowed to challenge it in court. Proponents said the measure is not solely religious, but that it has historical significance. In the language of the law, the 10 Commandments are foundational documents of our state and national government. The posters,
that's
which
a little bit privileged there, don't you think, Vifra? What if you can't move? Moving from Louisiana, an incredibly poor state, to New York, an incredibly expensive state, then, like, you understand that by that logic, you're just kind of damning a bunch of poor people to just kind of have to live under a, you know, under another's theology. Oh, fair enough.
And also worth noting, under the law, state funds will not be used to implement the mandate.
You got me hook, line, and sinker, Vifra. You got me hook, line, and sinker. God damn it! I am.
So the law also
displayed on your wall
the display of other items in K through 12 public schools, including
with the fun
the Mayflower Compact, which was signed by religious pilgrims
next to the rest of the fish you caught.
It's often referred to as America's first Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Northwest
The law
Ordinance,
also
which established a government in Northwest Territory and created a pathway for admitting new states.
Wait, the law also authorizes but does not require the display of other items in K through 12, including the Mayflower. Wait, you're not going to require the Mayflower, the thing that's actually part of? Okay.
States of the Union. So,
shocker there.
You can display that. You don't have to, but you do have to display the 10 Commandments.
Lovely.
So this will obviously be challenged in court.
Fascism, right?
Will it survive the court challenges? I don't know.
Probably not.
It'll be a tough road given the makeup.
It's obviously unconstitutional. You dillweed.
Of the courts.
What? The court? Okay.
Should it survive the challenges? Yes. Of course it should. Now, as you would expect, and as mentioned in the article, people are upset about this policy, and that's not surprising, but it makes a lot of sense. And it certainly makes a hell of a lot more sense.
Don't even really think
people in classrooms than to have, say, pride flags.
I don't think Matt Walsh believes in any of this stuff. I think Matt Walsh believes he can make money off of believing this stuff.
As the moral foundation.
Although actually no, I'm willing to say that I do think Matt Walsh is a theocrat. Like there are people who I definitely think just kind of use religion as their like argument defeater or whatever. But no, I do think Matt Walsh is probably deep down a theocrat. I mean, he's certainly a fascist, so I mean, not too far off the bend there.
System of law, not just ours, but all of Western civilization. So even if you look at them from a purely secular perspective, from that point of view, you would have to at least acknowledge that they are the most influential set of rules or laws ever set down. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So they are highly relevant from an historical perspective, from a legal perspective, from an anthropological perspective. And that's, again, without even getting into the biblical, moral, spiritual.
They're upset in Louisiana, but my point is the same here in New York, which is the supposed left capital along with California. State tax money funds youth centers that are only open to people of the Jewish religious faith. Isn't that the same exact thing? Same exact thing as what? Like what they're arguing is public schools are forced to hang like religious doctrine in their classrooms. Like the idea that there's like youth centers that are only open to like Jewish community members. I guess like I assume there's I would assume, and I don't know this, that there is money that goes to all youth centers, and some of them are locked off to like community members of a church, and others are just open to all of the public. But that's like also one of those that's kind of also one of those situations where it's like, no, churches and synagogues and other religious, they should all be paying taxes. They should all 100% be paying taxes. Like they have this weird like private institution but also public institution kind of, they're in this weird gray area that I definitely don't, that I find I take a lot of pause with. Jewish Youth Center. Interesting. I guess if you're in New York, I'm originally from Northern Virginia, so, but like, yeah, that's like kind of normal in New York, is it not? But yeah, I think that's weird. I think youth centers should be open to everybody. I don't mind if it's like, hey, this is, the community was Jewish and it's, you know, history is tied to, you know, the church that's down the street. I got no problem with that. But like regular people should probably, you know, non-Jews should absolutely be able to use the youth center. Like that's ridiculous.
Perspective. And all of that means that it's relevant.
No, they all should, because they don't pay property taxes, and they absolutely should pay property.
History,
they're on
law,
American soil. They should pay property tax like the rest of us.
Supposed to be part of a child's education. Every child in school should know the Ten Commandments. In order to be literate and to possess the most basic knowledge of history.
Okay. Anyway, back to Matt Walsh.
Because history, the law, anthropology, all of these things are supposed to be part of a child's education.
Right.
Every child in school.
Do you teach K through 12 anthropology? I can tell you right now, they're not teaching anthropology in Louisiana.
Schools should know the Ten Commandments. In order to be literate and to possess the most basic knowledge of history and human.
Wait. To be literate is to be able to read the Ten Commandments. Matthew, you can learn to read. I learned to read like the Bernstein Bears. What the fuck are you, like, what? Okay. Again, theocrat. It's just a theocrat.
In society, you need to know the Ten Commandments. So it should be a part of a child's education. Now, compare this again to, for example, pride flags. Most of the people who oppose Ten Commandments in the classroom support having pride flags in the classroom. And this is an important
I remember everyone
comparison
talking
because,
about like
you know, the reality
Bernstein
probably is that
Barnstein or whatever the fuck.
I don't know if this is the
like
case.
Bernstein. I'm like, it's Bernstein.
That putting the Ten Commandments in the classroom does not need to be a response to anything that the left is doing. It's a good idea on its own terms. But I also think it's highly likely that if the left did not spend the last many years going massively overboard trying to inject even the most radical
religion, or are you talking about like broad ideology
elements of their ideological agenda into the classroom, if they had not done that.
So do you notice like, so man, Matt Walsh is fucking washed, isn't he? Do you notice like no one talks about this guy anymore? And honest to God, as I'm watching this, my eyes are kind of glazing over. I'm kind of just bored with these arguments at this point. Like his entire position is, look what you made. It's just wife beating activity. It's just, look what you made me do. You made me enact theocracy because you wanted the gays to feel welcome in the school. You wanted the gays to get married, so I had to create the camps to put them in. It's like, at this point, it's kind of just like, Matthew, just like come out with it, man. Just be like, look, I think explicitly we should be teaching only Christianity or whatever denomination he cares about, whatever. And if you don't want to learn that, you should be forced to homeschool your kid at your own expense and everything else. And that's it. And it's like, cool. You're at the, I believe that we should be governed by religious doctrine. That's fine. I don't mind if you want to be honest, Matthew, but just like come out and say it, man. Like, what are we doing with this? Like, oh, you did this and this is, I had to respond by doing. Just do what you're gonna do. Stop being a pussy. Stop being a pussy and blaming everybody else for your theocratic tendencies. Just own it. All right, own it. For God's sakes.
Then I don't know. Would Louisiana have passed this law? Again, they should regardless. But I think there is also an attitude from some on the right, which I totally understand, of course.
I mean, certainly I would say that.
Okay, if this is what you guys are going to do,
I wouldn't say property taxes are racist. They're just,
you know, if you're going to put pride flags in the classroom, then we're putting the 10 Commandments.
It's just a way that we, wait, whoa. Is the acknowledgement of the existence of gay people the same thing as the religious belief in Jesus Christ? Are those two things the same thing? Is one of them an acknowledgement of an identity that we see every single day out in the world, and the other one is a, you know, not to step on any sandals here, but for the most part a fictitious character? I don't know. I just think they're different. I think one's observable and the other one isn't observable after 3 days because he went and disappeared after going in the cave. That's all I'm saying.
And there's a much better argument, of course, for the 10 Commandments than pride flags.
Well, probably
what's the value of a pride flag or any kind of gay pride paraphernalia in the classroom? What's
denomination
the
in the U.S. is the
Does
evangelical
the concept
church,
of gay pride have any real
or like the evangelical
relevance?
sect? And they're like hyper Zionist because
it's only
they
like
want to see
5
the
minutes
rapture.
ago that anyone ever talked about gay pride. The concept. Okay,
gay
mid 20th century at the earliest is as far as you can go back. You go any far back.
Somebody's never read Shakespeare.
And that, and you go to anybody and you talk about gay pride, they would look at you like, what do you? They wouldn't even understand what you're saying. So does it serve as the foundation for?
So what? Who cares? People are uneducated. Who cares? What? Like what? Who gives a shit?
Anything in our society? No. Is there any real academic value to children learning about the pride flag and what it means? You know, if you meet a child who can tell you all about the pride flag and rattle off the history of it and point to different colors and tell you what they stand for.
Our government is not based on the 10 Commandments. Even our like Bill of Rights isn't based on the 10 Commandments. Most of it's a lot of it's built on English common law.
On that unfortunate position where they know all that stuff, is that an indication that this is a really well-educated child?
And it's also like, it's also not about like anything being on your classroom wall that changes your life, Mystic. Like at the end of the day, like if somebody hung like a Nazi flag, you wouldn't be like just ignore it, because that's not how that works. Like what you put on a classroom wall is indicative of the message and the education that you want to, and the behaviors that you want to reinforce and instill in your students. And if the 10 Commandments are on there, then most likely it's, hey, you should believe in Jesus, whichever denomination it is, you should just believe in Jesus. Yeah, but that's just what is common knowledge then? Like that's not really, if it's common knowledge, that argument works two ways. It's like, okay, well then if it's common knowledge, you don't need it on the wall. Like then if it's common knowledge, you don't need it in the classroom then. If it's that obvious, you don't need it then. But that also cuts both ways. It's like, well, in that case you don't need it, but also then like it's like, all right, if it's common knowledge, then why that specific doctrine? There are tons of doctrines. There's what is it, Justinian's Code? Like why not post Justinian's Code? Those are also a list of ways to run civil society and how to behave. But we don't, because we just don't. And like you teach it in history the same way you should teach the 10 Commandments in history, but as a history lesson, not as doctrine.
No. Can a child be literate and well-informed and educated and yet not know anything about the pride flag? Yes.
Always ask questions.
So it's pretty clear which of the two wins out in this
It's always
contest.
good. Interrogate why you come to the positions you're at.
The child gets through public schooling and graduates, And if he doesn't know anything about the Bible, if he cannot tell you what the 10 Commandments are,
okay,
can't even give you 5 of the 10 or something.
Is that like a big deal? I went to Catholic school. I don't know if I could give you 5 of the 10 Commandments. I'm pretty sure, you know, there's obviously like, no, I actually, like, besides me just memeing and guessing, I probably couldn't name you all of them. Because I haven't thought, like, the 10 Commandments don't play into a role in my life because I'm not a Christian. And I think people, when they send their kids to public school, have a right to not have their child evangelized to.
Can't tell you anything about the Bible. Well, then that tells you that his education was sorely lacking. There's a basic level of literacy and historical understanding that he lacks. Now, does it violate the First Amendment to have the 10 Commandments in the classroom? My answer to that is, are you stupid? What kind of question is that?
I mean, you can. Like, if a teacher has them, I don't really, that's kind of arguable. This is the thing also. Think about that. Like, I'm probably the extreme, like, crazy leftist that he's always ranting about. If there's like a teacher who would like to have the 10 Commandments in their classroom, I really don't have a problem with them doing so as long as they educate properly and in a secular fashion around them. If they're willing to interrogate their religious doctrine from a historical lens to their students, I don't really see much of a problem with that. I would say that's pretty reasonable. But we're not talking about one individual wanting to post the 10 Commandments, because maybe it's just like, you know, it's something that's important to them. We're talking about legislation passed requiring the 10 Commandments, regardless of the religious beliefs of the teachers. And keep in mind, this is from the same crowd who says that they can't hand out, who would venerate that one bitch who wouldn't give out a marriage license to a gay couple because it didn't agree with her religious values. To which it's like, wait a minute. You guys aren't okay with that, but you're okay with this. Okay, you want it both ways. Got it.
I know they're going to be able to find activist judges who say, oh, this is an infringement on the First Amendment.
Activist judges in Louisiana. Leftist activist judges in Louisiana.
But it's still stupid.
Oh, okay.
Of course it does not violate the First Amendment. You know, the First Amendment, what does the First Amendment, when it comes to religion, what prohibitions or restrictions does the First Amendment put on the government? Well, there's one. It forbids Congress 200%. From making a law respecting the establishment of religion. That's what the First Amendment does.
Oh, so it would definitely, I wasn't sure if that was in the clause of the First Amendment. Okay, so that would definitely violate that then, since it's respecting one religion. Yeah, that is kind of.
So we have to.
Maybe Matt Walsh needs to read the 10 Commandments like another 100 times so we can learn how to read.
Ask ourselves, the Louisiana legislature, is it Congress? No. Did they pass a law?
I mean, it's a Congress. It's the Congress of that state, which is still ruled by the Congress of the country. So
respecting an establishment of religion.
I mean, if you want to do the like, religion, but Louisiana says you can't. It's like, right.
So it's got. So
then in that case, does Louisiana have a different First Amendment? Then you can't. Again, Matthew, you can't have it both ways. You can't have parts of the First Amendment and not have others. That's not how that works. You can't go, oh, but it says Congress shall not, and Louisiana isn't Congress as it was understood in the. And it's like, no. In that case, then you're arguing that you do not have a First Amendment right in Louisiana, to which Matt Walsh certainly doesn't believe that. So, no, bud.
Got nothing to do with the First Amendment. It is not any kind of infringement on the First Amendment.
It definitely is.
But I know in recent times we have been told that really the First Amendment means that religion cannot be acknowledged, can't even be acknowledged in any kind of public setting, particularly in any kind of setting where the government is. The way we look at it now is according to the First Amendment.
They teach us from like a historical lens or from a like theological lens.
What restrictions?
I don't think any of your teachers were like,
and they would probably tell you, they would probably tell you that basically the First Amendment
says you need to pray to him if you want.
They tell you that basically the First Amendment says the government can't say anything. Can't acknowledge religion. It's like religion doesn't exist as far as the government's concerned.
Well, they don't pay taxes.
That is not the case. And the good news here also is that the 10 Commandments are
my dude is like so low energy.
Major world religions. So that's all the more reason why Louisiana cannot be accused of establishing or respecting imposing a state religion. That's clearly.
Well, it is, though. It's requiring that a specific piece of religious doctrine be displayed in public schools funded by taxpayers and by the state. So, no, that, or I guess I should, yeah, like, it's clearly illegal. There's like not even a shadow of an argument that it's not. You couldn't make the argument without misunderstanding basically every tenet of the First Amendment.
Not happening. All they're really imposing, if anything, is a well-rounded education on children who are in the public school system. Children who will now, because of the Ten Commandments being in the classroom, will now be exposed to such controversial and provocative ideas, such as like, don't kill people, respect your parents.
It doesn't matter. Didn't the 10 weren't the wait a minute. One quick moment, please. We're gonna look because I have a hunch about the 10 Commandments. No, just give me the list. It's cool. You shall have no other gods before me. Oh, wait, no, this is, shut up. Stop it. Okay. You shall have no other gods before me. So the first one is, if you're another religion, you're just wrong. Second one, you shall not make idols. Man, South Korea, fucked. Japan, fucked. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Literally anti-free speech. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Sure, whatever. Honor your father and your mother. Don't know what that one means. You shall not murder. Also, murder was not a word back then. I'm kind of curious the translation of what this actually, or like what this meant, because murder is a very specific legal designation. I'd just be curious. You shall not commit adultery. Yes, the thing that kids, the thing that K through 12 really needs to hear is not to commit adultery. I can't wait for their teachers to have to explain what adultery is to small children. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not convert or covet. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what the covet one. Again, you're going to have to explain all this to kids. So that's going to be fun for Louisiana teachers. And again, even those teachers are now going to have to educate themselves on religious Christian doctrine now.
Don't steal.
Was it just killed? That's what I thought. I was going to say. I feel like it would have been just killed.
That the left is now worried kids might be exposed to. They're going to be confused.
Well, wait, Matt, aren't you always complaining that kids are going to be confused about gender when it's literally just be whatever you want to be? Like, that's literally the answer to, like, how do I explain gender to my kids? Just tell them to be themselves. That's it. Just tell them be themselves. Be themselves. That's it. That's all they got to do. But what if their gender doesn't align with, what if their sex doesn't align with the gender role that they want to play in society? All right, we can like talk about that. Sometimes we're not all built for the roles that we were born with the parts to do those roles with. Happens sometimes. It's not really a hard concept.
And they might be confused. It might create some awkward questions for some of these
jealous of others.
And that's a good thing if it gets them thinking.
Do you think we could get them thinking about something without incorporating religion? Just a thought.
Who knows?
But
maybe
again,
some of them
Matt
will come
Walsh,
home and they'll say, "Hey,
Matt Walsh
I saw
only
the
wants you to think about
says,
the
thou shalt not kill." But you, Mom, told me that abortion is okay. How does that work?
Yes, because kids are gonna totally put that together. They're gonna be like, yes, let me have an abortions debate with my mom. Fuck, dude, this dude's so fucking cooked, man.
Maybe we'll get some of the kids to ask those questions to their parents.
Like, I'm being genuine when I say, my dude is like so low energy. It's kind of shocking, the fall off, right? Like, there was nothing there. It was just theocracy. That's it. That's all he has. It's kind of sad. But, we love to see him be ineffective and fall off. We'd love to see it. But, all right. Probably will. I'm sure he also, every time he sees a male nurse, he probably, rages inside. It's like, that's not the job for a man. It's weird shit like that. But, either way, that's going to do it for me tonight, folks. It is just before 11. We just got done. Ben Shapiro's again. I've done some Ben. I mean, I'm sure we'll watch some of his stuff at some point. I've responded to his stuff before. It just didn't really fly into my purview today. But yeah, either way, thank you everyone for watching. Hope everyone has a nice night. If you've been lurking, you should hit the follow button so that you can be back here again for Sunday to lurk some more. There will not be a stream tomorrow. I sadly got called in. The low staff. What can I say? The real working world kind of sucks. So, support the channel, do all the stuff so that I can do this more than, the times that I get to. We can expand this a little bit farther. And we can hopefully, create some discourse, talk to some people. We haven't had a call in a really long time. I'm hoping at some point we can get a call in of we can get a bit of a back and forth going one of these days. I've enjoyed pretty much all those that I've done. But either way, we're getting off. Everyone have a lovely night. I'll see you all Sunday for the recap. We will almost certainly go over the debate from Biden and Trump, since that's probably going to be big news. I mean, maybe I'll just kind of do little quick hits of it. It's just by then I feel like everyone will have gone over it. But either way, like I said, everyone have a nice night. Bye-bye.